gotta
do the old
do a
lean.
little lean.
We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Actually live. Danny Palm with the thumbs up with these two.
We like to get started slow though, so the people,
So
the
people
good
can-
people of the world.
Yeah.
There are very good people tuned into this podcast, so that's good.
I question their judgment.
The best people. And this podcast in particular has gotten a lot of hype, I will say.
Gotten a lot of hype.
I wonder why.
We were talking about this earlier. We were trying to figure out, like, okay, who all has been in the podcast studio? And then we were talking about have we had females in the podcast studio? And most of the time, females run quickly away from us.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and somehow
We fucked up.
we we snagged a couple broads.
That's right.
Let's
And
go.
so these two are like raring to go. They have they're competing on Sprawl in the Burgh in just 1 week's time. So excited to have you guys here in the studio.
Thanks for having us.
Of course.
Pumped up.
Much appreciated.
Of course. There's been so much hype with this podcast that I feel like we need to jump into something ridiculous. So you were talking about a cowboy shot, I believe?
Yeah, so I was out in Texas in 2021 with a couple of the it's kind of like this traveling contingent of Pittsburgh jiu-jitsu people that do big IBJJF tournaments. Christian Schaefer was out there, Mike Wilkins was out there, Isaac was out there, Dempsey was out there. And Isaac won black belt Master 3 Nogi Worlds. No big deal.
Casual.
Yeah,
Casual
I
as he
did that a
does.
couple times that week.
Yeah, you know, they're like three.
As one does.
He like tore through his bracket, had very tough matches, and man, just watching. I remember that was my first IBJJF ever. Was Nogi Worlds,
Nice.
which is a choice. But it was like one of my favorite parts of that weekend was getting to watch everybody compete, and getting to watch Isaac compete is something else. And I remember we all went out. We went out for barbecue after that night because I think most of us were done by then. Like it was like I think that was a Saturday of the weekend, or like of the week of competing, and you know, like everyone's getting a little spicy at the barbecue and whatever. And then we moved to a second location, which is always where the good shit happens. And Isaac goes and he orders all of us that were out there a round of whiskey shots. And he says to the bartender, give me the cheapest thing that you got, or like the lowest shelf thing that you got. And what a cowboy shot is you shoot it and then you have to deadpan it
Oh,
for 30 for like however long the countdown is.
nice. I
And
like
then you
that.
get to be done.
I like that.
So he does his one, and then he looks at me,
Your
and
turn.
I go, all right, bet. And I think it was like wild turkey or something. It wasn't like the worst whiskey
Wasn't
I've ever
that
had.
bad, yeah.
No, but so I shoot it, and I just lean in, real close. And there we go.
That was not 30 seconds. I'm
No,
sorry.
it
not
wasn't.
30
It wasn't.
seconds. No, but it's like however long it takes for the like taste to get out of your mouth, and then he does another one, and I have it. I think it might still be a highlight on one of my Instagram stories or something. But he does another one, and you know he like very stoically he just kind of looks at it and is like, all right, we're gonna do this, and he shoots it, and he just. And then he counts down, and then we all start cheering, and
Nice.
that was a fun night.
We got to run that back. Did anybody fail the cowboy shot test?
I don't think so.
That's not fun if everybody can just do it, right?
Yeah, it's just too easy. I
Yeah.
guess.
Got to up the
yeah,
stakes somehow
yeah, I
next
know.
time.
I'm trying to remember. It was also my memory of that night is a little bit hazy after that. Not because I was drinking. No, so not because I was drinking
Shocking,
a lot.
honestly.
Well, no, it was late. It was like the 4th or 5th day that we were out there, and also I, unbeknownst to me at the time, had a pretty catastrophic elbow injury, so I was in a lot of pain.
Nice.
Which is, where the whiskey came in handy.
That's always a good time. I think you mentioned something pretty fun, though, with like the traveling Pittsburgh jiu-jitsu contingent, because we see that happen all the time. You guys were just were you guys in Cincinnati for Kumite? Where was that?
Yeah.
Kentucky. Close enough. What was that?
Covington?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the part of Kentucky that's just Cincinnati.
That's basically Cincinnati,
Extended.
just right over the bridge. Yeah,
It's where the Cincinnati airport is.
right. So you guys went out there, competed for Kumite. Like, what was that experience like for you? Was that the first time you had ever? It was You, Selena, and Carly Joe,
And Justin.
and
Our
Patton.
Oh, yeah.
emotional support
Wait,
animal.
wait. Justin Patton was an
Yeah.
emotional
An
support
emotional-
animal.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, I mean, like typically when I think of Justin Patton, I think of emotional support, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was the worst.
Wait, the trip was the worst, or his
No, he
support?
was,
No,
he
his-
was the worst.
Yeah.
Wait. How specifically? Use details. How was Justin the worst?
I'm just fucking around.
Oh, I mean, he was our warm up dummy.
Yeah, he was.
Nice.
And he-
no, he came in handy.
Yeah.
We just talked shit on him the whole time. I feel like he
The
just
entire
got-
time.
Yeah.
Oh,
he
yeah.
just- He just got a dose of 3 women the whole. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was
Like
rough.
the whole trip was the three of us like laughing and then
Yeah.
him rolling his eyes in the
Yeah.
background.
That sounds
It was
very
good.
correct.
Yeah,
So
we
I
had-
get that.
Go ahead.
We had two different takes from what she just went through. I heard when she said, like, I'm a promoter, right? I heard it's a real gift to get to see Isaac compete. And that's the part that stuck out to me because, guys, in 1 week,
We get to
we
see
not only get to
Yep.
see Isaac compete, but we get to see Isaac
Yeah.
compete against Gray freaking Maynard. How sick is that?
Yeah.
Sorry, that's sick.
It's very sick.
It is.
It's
Really
it's
great.
historic.
Uh-huh.
It's awesome.
It's incredible.
Well, Jess, for people, I always like sharing behind the scenes stuff on the podcast. So if you're listening, you get to hear like the real goods. So
And if you're the first person to call in,
you
he'll
get a
give you a
shirt.
free shirt.
You get a free T-shirt. So we have, when people compete for us, there's a fighter information form where you fill out like your email address, your height, your weight, your rank, all that stuff.
Your nickname.
Yeah, there is one section that says wrestling experience. If so, how long? You know, we're in Pennsylvania, we're in Pittsburgh. Wrestling rules the world here, so we like to know these things. Jess's response. Do you want to share your response to
I
that?
don't remember what it was, but I know it was something snarky.
It was getting my ass beat by Isaac Greeley for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Which
little
sounds
snarky.
right.
Isaac Greeley and Mike Wilkins. To
Nice.
Be clear.
And
be-
Dempsey.
And Dempsey.
Come down. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
And all of them.
Yeah.
Those Tuesday morning wrestling practices used to be a
Those were the
freaking
shit.
nightmare.
They were the shit. Yeah.
Tuesday.
I remember Jonas Rubiano. I've only rolled with him once,
Mhm.
and he is smaller than I am. Like he's so friendly. Jonas, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry, but you looked to me at the time like a string bean, and he felt like he weighed 7,000 pounds.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
Yeah, that was the best. That was when I think I really first met Isaac, and Dempsey really was.
Mhm.
They would come down to Stout. We'd have Tuesday wrestling, and then that grew into the gym that y'all are in now.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, it all went from there. And we started.
Yeah,
actually-
Stouts moved locations a couple of times in the
Yeah.
strip district.
Right.
So
Mhm.
The location now is so bomb.
It
It is so nice.
yeah.
It's really sick. How long have you been there, Jess?
I started in October of 2018, so right before we moved into the new space. When I joined, we were still over Costume World on 17th
So
Street.
you were up the elevator.
Yeah, up that elevator where I was like, this is where people go to die.
You're not wrong. I remember being there for UFC open workouts as well, which
Yeah.
was
I was
really
there
cool.
for that
Yeah,
too.
that was cool.
Yeah, we were probably there together and had no idea. That's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Did you go to the interview like afterwards?
I don't
Interview?
think. I don't
Yeah.
think. Maybe though. That was my job once upon a time, so I was
He
probably
has
there.
such a worse job now.
Literally, this is way worse. Way worse.
Oh God, you got to deal with these two broads in the studio.
Seriously. Ryan's words, not mine, for the record.
What, broads or?
Yes, broads. When did you start training, Jess? Because I know more about Selena just because she's been around for a long time. I know less about you. So.
Yeah, so my story is I moved to Pittsburgh in August of 2018 because I was starting grad school, which is a sentence that sounds very strange in my ears now for reasons, but we can get into that later. So I moved here to start grad school, and I've always been super athletic. I swam club for many years. I played field hockey in college for a little bit. I played lacrosse in high school for like 5 seconds because they were like, you're a goalie in field hockey. It's the same thing, just up here. And I'm like, that's not okay. And it turns out that so I was in grad school for bioengineering, and the senior grad student that sat behind me was a blue belt at Stout. And he was like, oh, well, if you want like to try cool stuff. Just like come follow me to the gym one day, and then I never left.
Nice. Who was the cool blue belt?
His name is Carl Behringer. He graduated and moved back to the East Coast a couple of years ago.
Nice.
But I think he still trains.
Shout out Carl, getting
Yeah.
her started. So Stout was your first experience with jiu-jitsu at all?
I had dropped into a gym for like free trial classes or something once at Shaolin's in New York several years before that, but when you live in New York City and are on an NIH funded stipend did lab, you don't make enough money to do fun things like
Sure.
jiu-jitsu. So
That's very fair. I think something super interesting. You guys have obviously, Selina calls the Mat Factory home now, but you're at the Mat Factory every Sunday for wrestling practice. And I love that you guys have kind of taken up this female grapplers kind of
Yeah.
picture after the after the workout just to show how.
Yep.
And it seems like every time you guys take a picture, there's somebody
One
new
more.
in it. Yeah.
Yep.
So you can just see this community growing, which is really really awesome.
You guys should just take more pictures.
Yeah.
obviously.
Every
Yeah.
time.
Every time there's one more.
Yeah.
Take
We have
more.
a solid group of competitors too. Because every now and then there's people in there that don't compete that are in the practices, but it's still good. But I feel like we have the best girls around that come in and roll. So
Yeah.
it's nice.
So what all gyms are represented in that group that you currently have? I mean, obviously Mat Factory and Stout. Are there any other gyms that are?
We get some wrestlers from where is I don't want to say Erie, no. Where's that? I can't think of her name right now. I feel bad. She's like an actual wrestler.
Alicia Zappa
She
Zap.
popped in.
Yeah, we've
What's
had
her
her
last name?
in.
She popped in, but
She's a monster. She's so good.
she is a
Oh yeah,
monster.
she's sick.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
nice having her in there.
Are you
Yeah.
guys allowed to call? Like, I can't call a female a monster.
No, I will like
But
in
other girls
meaning
can
that-
We're all
call-
monsters.
Okay.
There's
I mean,
no
you
way
can
to
call
describe
yourself
it.
that.
Yeah. Well, no, well, and I say that
I
'cause,
call
like,
you
she-
broads. That's
Alicia was really cool.
Oh my god.
Very old fashioned.
Well, 'cause Alicia was
I
really.
feel like Al Bundy when I say that.
Yeah, these broads.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Alicia was really cool to train with because I didn't know who she was when she walked in. And you know I got to talking to her after we had done the warm-ups and we had done hand fighting and she had mentioned offhand something about like having MMA experience and I was like, oh, like you fought. And she's like, yeah, I had a couple fights.
Yeah, a couple.
Yeah, for people that I don't know what camera to look at. For people that don't know, she is the
There you go.
She is the former Invicta atom weight world champion. Like she's
Real
really
deal.
good at what she does.
Yeah, she's a real deal.
Yeah, just got her brown belt recently too, I think.
She was
But,
on Fight to Win with us too.
mhm. Well, I
Yeah,
wasn't on that
you're
card
right.
because that was the week before Pans.
Mhm.
But yeah, no. So we've had her in. I've seen some True Believer people come through.
I think we just claim everybody as Mat Factory girls at this point.
It seems
too.
that way.
Yeah.
As Cheyenne put it to me once, you know, like especially like, you know, when you have to list a school affiliation for IBJJF, like I train at Stout, I'm a full-time member at Stout, but as Cheyenne put it, if I saw you out in the rain like you were a lost puppy, I would say, yeah, that's one of ours.
Nice. That's awesome. I thought along those lines, I thought Maya Yankelo was a Mat Factory girl this whole time.
Yeah.
And then she signed up. She's on the Sprawl in the Burgh card as well. And she listed True Believer as her gym. I was like, wait, really? She's not Mat Factory? Because
Yeah.
I see her in those pictures all the time
Yeah,
and
right.
training at the Mat Factory all the time.
Is
Yeah.
Megan ever around anymore?
She moved out to California.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
didn't know she
Yeah.
moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I hadn't talked to her. Like, it had probably been a year or two since I last talked to her. She was here, so I don't know. Did she move more than 2 years ago?
It's been a little.
It's been like a
minute.
year, I think.
It's been
Yeah.
a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think before she moved, she wasn't training as much.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's like my OG girl. When I first joined Stout, that's who held pads for me for the first time. Her and Madeline from Stout. So I go hard for those
Yeah.
girls. They're the best.
Well,
Yeah.
and so we were talking about this in the car. Selena doesn't remember the first time we met, but I do.
I don't.
I do.
Are we gonna share?
Oh
yeah.
great.
Okay.
Is it good?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, I mean, it's you beating the shit out of me.
Yeah.
It was
Nice.
we used to have this small group of women that trained early in the mornings back in the day. And it was like everyone was a blue belt or like a mid-level blue belt or like a competitive blue belt, and then there was me, the like 2-stripe white belt. And then you showed up one day, and I had seen you like I people talked about you to me, like I was supposed to know who you were.
Yeah.
And you showed up for a gi practice one morning, and we were, well, it was gi practice, and we were doing simulated matches, and the first time that I had ever spoken to you, they were like, all right, like you two are the white belts, so like go ahead. And I spent 4 minutes of the 5-minute match sim stuck in your front headlock.
Yeah, you hear that, Juliana?
That was awesome. Dude, she's throwing up.
Talk smack. You
She
just
did.
talk smack. You totally did.
I got all this pent up energy. It's got
I don't know, dude. Juliana was throwing up gang signs in her poster
she might be
picture,
about it,
and
yeah.
that even baffled Josh Vasoki,
Oh,
and
my
that's when you know.
When you
That's
When
when
my
you
brother
know.
doesn't understand what you're doing with your hands.
If Josh Vasoki can't decode the gang sign, that's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
real undercover one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so afraid that you're too far away from your mic and no one can hear you. I'm just saying.
How about now?
Can I do
Remember
one of
when you
these?
said
It is better.
I'll just do this
I
every time.
forgot.
You're not doing that.
I'll start now.
You know what I'm saying?
You gotta eat it.
Well, I can't.
You gotta like,
I gotta
Yeah,
get
you really,
healthy.
Like-
you really
like a
want to be
candy
up
bar.
on it.
yeah.
All right.
No, that's like when I was like playing out with my band, like
I'm
I had to
trying to be
stop wearing
comfortable.
lipstick because it just got everywhere.
Is it
all
hot
over
enough
the
in
place.
our studio for you guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
We
like
help
dying.
fighters cut weight. That's part
that's
of our
our job.
process.
Especially
Part
as
of
a
our
trainer.
process.
Clean, nice, cold
Oh,
Icelandic
shit.
glacier water.
There we go. Did you have any of that in Iceland? Do
I-
they sell that there?
They do, but they also every single local is like just drink the tap water. It's the same thing.
It's literally that
It's
water.
literally this
Yeah.
water. And also I went snorkeling in glacier water, and they said you are going to get water in your snorkel, just drink it. And
That's
it
kind of
is-
awesome.
yeah, it was incredible. So there's a I don't know if it's a fault line if the plates are moving away from each other, but like the North American and the Eurasian tectonic plates meet in this national park in Iceland, and they're drifting away from each other, and water flows down from from the glaciers in the north through the lava fields. So it's the like cleanest water that you have ever experienced, and the fissure is just wide enough for people to snorkel in. Man, that is like the clearest, deepest blue that I've ever seen in my entire life.
That's crazy.
And the coldest water I've ever swam.
I was just going to say, what's the temperature of that water?
35 degrees Fahrenheit year round.
Oh my God. How long were you in it?
About a half an hour. They put you in dry suits.
Okay.
So
okay. I was
it's
like, and you don't die?
So it's like
I've seen
38
Titanic.
degrees when you
Right, yeah. Well, and it's like they're like wear a million layers of socks because the boots are like not insulated.
Mhm.
And but yeah, no, it is like I think it's the Silfra fissure, and it's one of like the top 10 diving sites in the world, and I can see why.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
So you were just in Iceland for just tell the good people at home why you were over there with some of your stout homies as well.
Yeah. I so there's this organization called BJJ Globetrotters, and they run training camps all over the world. They run in the States, they do one in Arizona, I think, and one in Maine on the site of like a Boy Scout camp. And they run that one in the summer. And they have one in Iceland. I think this year was the 5th or 6th year that they've done it. They train at Molinir, which is by square footage the largest MMA facility in the world, which I did
Oh
not know.
wow.
Mhm.
Interesting.
Yeah, and that facility is incredible. It's like 3 huge mat rooms. There's a sauna, there's a hot tub, there's a cold tub. Like,
How many stout in the strips would it be? Like how much bigger than stout in the strip is it?
it's like, so mat space wise, if you have, so the big room in the front is probably 1.5 times the jujitsu mat space.
Mhm.
And then in the back room, it is another like 1.5 of the jujitsu mat spaces plus an MMA cage.
Wow.
That's floored with one of the floors that Gunnar Nelson fought on, because that's where
Very
he
cool.
trains.
Yeah.
And then the third one is probably like 1.5 the Muay Thai side room. And then also they have a 2-story weight room, or like weight setup thing. The whole, apparently I didn't know this, the whole facility used to be like a big entertainment complex or like a bowling alley or something. And they, when that cleared out, they were like, well, let's just like, I don't know, fight people in here or something.
Fair.
But yeah, it was really, really cool. It's a lot of black belts that travel in from all over the world to train, and a couple of local black belts, like Gunnar taught a class, very friendly. And yeah. Oh, that
Talk about
reminds
your wrestling.
Yeah, Isaac wanted me to talk about so one of the Globetrotters traditions for the Iceland camp specifically is they call it Vikings versus tourists.
Nice.
So the Icelandic folk wrestling style is called glima. It's very different than freestyle or American folk style wrestling. It's both someone said to me that it reminded them of sumo, but it's not really like that either. It's both competitors are wearing leather belts, and you grip one side on the top and one side on the bottom. And instead of staying bent over in a grappling stance, you have to stand upright the entire time. And you have to stay circling the whole time. And when they say go, you're essentially trying to get their hips onto the mat or like get them to fall over, with the idea that like in traditional Viking combat, if you hit the floor, you're probably gonna die. Yeah. And it was really, really interesting. And it's considered common courtesy not to look down at your opponent's feet. You're supposed to keep looking over their shoulder the whole time, because the idea is like you want to feel their off balancing, and like you don't want to be trying to plan based on what their feet are doing. I got to go with I think I'm not sure how rankings work in Iceland, but she's like one of the top Glima athletes in the country right now.
Really cool.
It was really, really cool.
Yeah, I saw the video.
She sent me
I
flying.
saw the video of that. You held your own for a while though.
Yeah, that was the second half of it. Like she tried to toss me once, and if you catch yourself and your like hip doesn't hit, then you're still considered up.
Nice.
So I caught myself one time, and then she just sent it.
Did you offer to straight up wrestle her after that? Did you say I'll do your style if you do my style next?
No, I think it's Vikings versus tourists for a reason.
The Vikings like having the upper hand a little bit.
Yeah, the final score was 42-9. So
okay, well done, Taurus.
You got 9.
yeah,
That's a win.
yeah, you know.
Anybody we know get a win over a Viking?
Not that I remember.
Dang,
I know.
it's disappointing.
That's okay. That's one, and like I think my favorite one is I'll pull up the picture. I'll post it on Instagram later. But there's one like very well known Glima athlete in Iceland who is just like very large. He's like probably like Big Dan Manitou sized. And he wrestled, or he like did the thing with a guy in a hot dog costume. So,
That's awesome.
you know,
I got to see that for sure.
if that's the that's the vibe that we're going for here in the
It
Globetrotters
was
camp.
Joey Chestnut.
It was
Definitely
literally
Joey
Joey Chestnut.
But yeah, no, I definitely want to go back. I want to go back to Iceland at some point if I can. It never gets dark there. So for all the people that are like, oh, did you see the Northern Lights? Literally, it never gets dark there in the summer. Like
That's
the
wild.
sun set. I was there for the solstice. The sun set at 12:30 a.m. and rose at 3 a.m. So
Wow.
no. But yeah, they run camps, Iceland. I think they're in the Faroe Islands right now. There's an Estonia camp coming up. Like truly they are everywhere.
That's wild. You did mention Gunnar Nelson as well, which I want to bring up because if you were watching the UFC at a certain time, I know his career didn't quite pan out the way a lot of people thought, but there was a time where he was considered the next like big thing, a crazy jiu-jitsu black belt that also had really good stand-up. And they were like, how do you possibly beat this guy? He's amazing wherever you take him. What was it like working with him?
It was really cool. He showed, so first of all,
Selina, unreal.
how dare you? How dare you interrupt my story with your water
He
bottle
was talking. You're just like, oh, water bottle girl.
and the Iceland water, no less.
Just add insult to injury. It's like sticking
We're
it.
not picking on me today.
Stick it.
Um,
No one can
So-
hear you anyway. You're too far away from the mic.
you gotta eat it. Gotta just like get right up in there. Get right up in there. No. Little known, or I guess medium known. I don't know how many people know. He got his black belt in 4 years from Renzo Gracie
Right.
directly, which
Yeah,
is
he
like,
was like European BJ Penn. A lot of people were saying like
Unheard
this
of.
just
Yeah.
weird prodigy out of nowhere that was just amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's he taught a class on the names of all the classes on the schedule are usually kind of dumb. Like I think his was like how to train UFC. But he showed some really, really cool pressure passing into kind of like a it looks similar to a position that Sean Williams calls low side control, but it's kind of like it's almost like a leg ride. And you're sitting over top and you can just pass straight to mount. And he has this incredible eye for detail and problem solving for where things commonly go wrong, or when people are like, I'm not sure if I'm dropping my weight right. And I did, my training partner in that class had a question for him, and I got to feel him do the pass on me, and oh boy, it worked.
There was no stopping that one.
No.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It makes it so difficult when like someone just clams up and like won't talk, and like you need to like feel
You
more
will-
comfortable and like get out of your shell.
You will never get me to shut up.
Just
Many
can
have-
go.
Many have tried.
Many have failed.
All have failed. Every single one.
That's perfect for a podcast.
That
I mean,
is.
I will say we were promised like great talking, and you are absolutely delivering on the promise. We've heard
Although
that.
only one of you two has talked smack on their opponent. Just saying.
That's true.
That's all I needed to do in here.
So what's up?
Listen.
Wait, what's up with that match against Juliana, Selena? What's
what?
the confidence? You got like all this confidence calling her out. Have you watched
Did
her
I do
compete
that?
at all?
Did I do that?
Yeah, you
We'll say
totally
you
did.
did.
No, I think what it is when you train at the Mat Factory and then you also have other people training at the Mat Factory, you kind of just have this confidence in general because you know that nobody works as hard as us. So that's what it is, we're used to this different pace, we're used to this different pressure, and that's the way we train every time. And I don't think a lot of people do that. So yeah.
Do you guys do any sparring? Do you guys like?
I don't anymore.
Yeah.
I boxed for like 2 years, I think, before I moved out of New York. I haven't sparred since then though, so it's been quite some time.
That's actually something that I'm excited about with it being in the cage, is because I was in that room for so long. I hope to use that aspect of it. But I also know it's different for just jujitsu, but I like that. I like that element to it. That
Well, I
excites
mean
me.
that we love having you guys in the cage, and right now it would just be for grappling, but like I'm always wondering, like, are these
They
two
wanna
gonna
fight?
fight?
Yeah.
I unfortunately
Not each other, just like
I'll
Well,
fight her. I'll fight.
Instant.
yikes.
she accepts the challenge.
like I will if it
Me
comes
and
to
Jess
it, but I'm
to
like,
scrap.
yeah, oh god, yeah, she like
We like to scrap.
it's like she jumps on my back, I jump on her feet. So
yeah, it's fair.
but yeah, I have spoken to Will Morrill about this. My concussion history is probably a little bit too long at this point, and I'm probably a little bit too old.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just from boxing, or did you have other?
No, I was a 16-year-old dumbass, and I was
It's an oxymoron.
eh,
Most 16-year-olds are dumbasses, right? I have one.
fair play.
True.
But
Sorry, Austin.
no, well, so it was like
I'm
it
not.
was one of those like weird freak. How did this even happen? It was at swim practice, and we were getting out. We were in between main sets, and I put my hand on the backstroke bar of the starting block to like pull myself out of the pool, and one of my teammates pushed me like out of the way to get up, so I pulled up again, and I hit my head on the corner of the starting block, and it took me out for like 2 months.
That's brutal.
Yeah, it was one of those like I didn't realize how bad it was until 2 days later. I was sitting in like I think chemistry class, and I realized that I did not understand the English words that people were speaking at me.
Wow.
Yeah, it was not good. And then so that was the first one, and then second one was snowboarding, third one was boxing, fourth one was jujitsu. So
That's a lot.
yeah,
That's definitely a lot.
yeah. The fourth one was 10 days after I got my blue belt.
Just so you know, you're not going to remember any of this.
I,
I always thought it was funny. I don't know if you guys were watching the UFC at the time, but like TJ Grant was a big like lightweight up and comer at the time, and he retired due to concussion sustained through jujitsu. And I thought it was really interesting at the time because the conception was like jujitsu is the safe way, protect your brain, but you can totally get a concussion in jujitsu.
you can,
Easily.
yeah,
Yeah.
especially for like super wrestling heavy jujitsu styles like
Yeah.
we do out here. Like it's like I go up. I'm from New York City, so I go up there to train a lot. And like I find that the wrestling base is much more evident in my game than it is for a lot of other schools that I
Right.
train at. But yeah, no, I mean the one that I got at jujitsu was kind of like it was like a freak accident both times, and I think if I had been hit one way or the other, it would have been fine. But in the space of a 15-minute span, I got kneed in the face with someone trying to pass my half guard, and then immediately went to invert under somebody else the next round and smashed my head into their knee. So nope.
Did you know right away? Like,
Yeah.
yep, I'm concussed.
Yeah, I finished the round, or I finished open mat, I think, and I like stood up to go get water or something, and I was like, oh, I know this feeling.
Yikes.
This is bad. And I remember Sage walking onto the mat to teach the class that was after open mat and kind of ribbing me like, oh, what, you're not staying? I literally held up a finger and was like, I have a concussion and I need to get home before I panic.
Yeah.
Like, I have to take a bus to another bus. Like, no.
It's a really terrifying injury, honestly, because there's no solution. There's no cure. There's nothing you can do to
I had to
fix
go to
that.
a conference, like a scientific conference with a concussion and network.
That's brutal with a
And
perfect brain.
It was so I was doing neuroscience research, and I at the time, and I like it's the big neuroscience conference is like 30,000 people. This was pre-pandemic days, but even now it's still
Sure.
like, now that we're back in person again, it's still huge, but it's like 30,000 scientists in one giant convention hall, and it's overwhelming normally. And I remember it was right when I was in the middle of joining another lab, and I had to like introduce myself to people and like try to figure out their science. And I was like, I went back to them like a year or two afterwards, and I was like, I don't know what I said to you that weekend. I had a concussion. If I came off like a dumbass, I'm so sorry.
That's great. You did say something interesting too about when you go back to New York, people are impressed with your wrestling. And we just heard that from Jermaine Moy. Remember, Jermaine was telling us,
Not New York.
not New York, Florida.
Florida.
He said when he goes down there, people are like, oh, do you
Where'd you wrestle?
Yeah, where'd
Yeah.
you wrestle?
People ask
He's
me
like,
where
I literally
wrestled,
don't
and I'm
have
like,
a wrestling
football.
background.
like the school of Mike Wilkins.
Yes, which Danny Palm with like the playoff music there.
No,
I like that
like-
for a
I don't
second.
hear any
Mike
of that.
has the-
I'm in the
Mike
I'm in the
has his
cheap
own theme
seats.
music now. Damn.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's the Wilkins walkout
This is a
song.
great spot to tell our sponsors that we love them, and
we do.
Sunny Days In-Home Care. Not like so. None of this is possible without them. They are constantly supporting us, and so like we just wanted to give a quick shout out to Sunny Days In-Home Care.
Yeah.
They make all of this stuff possible. Also, pay attention. There are people that and gyms and other people and other sponsors that made this grappling event happen. So you're gonna see who all that is. Come to the grappling event. Get it's called Sprawl in the Burgh. You can get tickets at
Best name
247fighting.com.
ever.
It is. It's gonna be. It's
so
gonna be
good.
off the hook. It's gonna be crazy.
Awful name. The event's amazing.
good.
The
I don't-
name
No,
awful.
it's so great.
I don't get it. I
It's
don't
so
get why
great.
he hates
I want to know.
I know.
I want to
He's
hear
a
people's
hater. You
comments.
You can't come up with anything better.
I probably can't. Me, no.
Anyone.
I think
Like
it's great.
you're literally every single other person's like, no, I love it.
It's perfect.
You're
Yeah.
like,
Hater.
Fair. All right.
Okay, but
all right. You guys
anyway,
just all gang up on me.
there
That's-
are a
that's
bunch
fine.
of people that have helped make that happen. So get your tickets. We're gonna have lots of opportunities for them once you
Yeah.
join us to see what it's all about.
For sure.
See what they're
And
all about.
Along those lines as well, Russ Green, Go Green Windows and Construction. He is the premier sponsor of Sprawl in the Burgh. He signed up immediately. This dude's like one of the most supportive people in Pittsburgh. Like Isaac Greeley and Russ are from the same mold of just wanting to help people that want to do good things. So Russ is the man. He's helped Dempsey and Cheyenne and Cody Gamble recently, I know for sure.
And he's helped them financially. He's also helped my company
Yeah.
with his window business. They're the best installers in the business. So if you are looking for new windows, call Go Green. They're amazing. Amazing people, amazing.
Did you ever
skills.
meet Russ, Selina,
I
at
have
the Mat
not,
Factory?
No, I
You
don't
gotta
think
do
I
that.
Or I might have been.
Maybe after
I'm
this
bad with
podcast you
names.
will, and he'll support you.
The problem with being a woman in jujitsu is that
You're
men-
a woman? Sorry.
Come on, now.
To say
Come on.
something. Whoa. Like,
It's wild.
You got it too. You
that was funny.
Listen,
Come
I
on.
got a lot of fiery shit in me right now.
I know.
It's about
Get it
to
out.
I know,
It's
it's
good.
from the bottom. It's that Viking
Choking.
water. It's that
Choking.
Viking
Yeah,
water. I'm
Hunter's
telling
not-
you.
Hunter's not getting tapped
Choking.
out tonight.
Choking.
Well, so
Can't get around that neck.
where's my fucking horn, Dan? On that horn.
That was awesome.
Oh man.
Hang on. You were about to actually make a point that was
Sorry,
probably
well,
awesome.
No, that was worth it.
That was perfect.
That was worth it. This is why we tag team.
Yeah.
This is why we tag team.
Don't need the
No, the problem with I told
my
you you wouldn't
God.
need it.
No.
I told you you'd be fine.
Oh, beautiful.
The problem with being a woman in jujitsu is in like, especially in big gyms, but even with smaller gyms like the Mat Factory, is that men automatically know our names because there are so few of us.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, all white belt men look the same to me. Like, you are all named Steve, and
Wait.
like, like
Yeah.
Wait, so all white belt men look the same, like no matter what.
I'm so bad at names.
Trash.
Well, it's because I'm
Oh,
bad
you're-
at
okay.
names, and like there's just so many
Yeah.
people, and it's
Yeah.
and that's the thing that people make fun of me for these days, is because as I'm sure you have seen, very loud and obnoxious on social media.
Haven't seen that.
It's
No.
almost like it's a
See,
personality. trait
we
or
love that.
something.
We think
Yeah,
you're
no,
MVP.
it's
No,
amazing.
I think I'm hilarious.
Yeah.
But so people have started coming up to me being like, "You're Jess from Instagram," and I'm like,
Nice.
I guess. But so like people will come up to me and be like, "Yeah, you're Jess," and I'm like, we have probably met. I'm so sorry, I don't remember your name.
That's awesome.
So if I've ever like to
You're
all
ranksist.
of my
That's ranksism.
Ranks.
All white belts look
You're
the same. That's
ranksist.
ranksism.
Yeah.
like I don't know. Like, blue belt is just a white belt with a couple extra stripes. Like, but no, and it's like I feel terrible because there have been times where it's like I'll go like several months where I'm like I'll start training with people and they're like really nice guys, and like, you know, there's a lot to be said, especially for larger men who know how to train safely with smaller women in a way that is technical and useful for both people.
sure.
Like if you outweigh me, if you're a man and you outweigh me by 40 pounds, don't sit on me for the entire round. Neither of us are getting anything out
Sure.
of this. So if you can give me a technical round, that's great. And like I will put you on my list of safe training partners. Sometimes it goes like too many months and it is now too late for me to figure out what your name is. And
Sorry.
it just
Sorry about
Like
it.
a public apology.
It is.
yeah,
It
this
is.
is a public apology.
I've no-named a lot of people, and I just want to say I'm sorry.
Selina, you're like 4'7", 115 pounds. I assume this is even a bigger problem for you.
Yeah.
How
definitely.
have you found this throughout your grappling journey?
So I try not to like make it a thing or make it more of a thing, because you have Isaac Greeley, who's also a small man and just fucking dominates everybody. So I think I gotta just kind of keep it to myself a little bit, but it's tough. I mean, I think I am probably a little bit more picky about who I'm training with, just because I'm in my head about it, you know, and no one's really like manhandled me in a way that made me feel unsafe. I think for the most part, when you're a large man, as soon as you put your hands on me, you can't throw me around like I'm 300 pounds. So I think people they take it easy for the most part. They're not trying to kill me out here, but it's tough. It's really tough. But
Yeah,
I got a good group of girls, so that helps, you know.
definitely.
Yeah.
I
Call
was
her
just
the
going to
flying
ask.
squirrel for nothing.
Yeah.
The flying
I
squirrel.
don't know why I got that.
It's
Wait,
because
is that your official nickname?
it's about to be.
Like, are we announcing that at Sprawl in the Burgh?
Is that
No.
gonna? Yeah. Wait,
Wait,
is
how
she
are
not
we
the one?
announcing
Is she? Danny, is she the one that didn't fill out
I didn't.
fight? Yeah, so we got to get you to fill that out,
Unreal.
and you got to put flying
Well,
squirrel.
and it's because we slap bump and then she's on my back,
Yeah.
and I'm like, how did we end up here?
How did this happen?
Don't tell all my secrets, Jess. Don't tell them all.
You got more than one
Juliana's
secret.
listening.
Yeah.
It's literally
Yeah.
on. I think one of your Instagrams is like her on top of you, like
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah. The
Smothering
smother.
her.
The
Yeah,
smother.
That was the day that she tried to
Yeah.
muffle me.
That is legal, right?
Smothering, I think, is legal.
Let's
That's
go.
totally
I
legal.
love
I didn't. I have these guys. have the grappling
Alright,
thing.
Yeah,
we
there's
got
no
the green
reason that's
light.
illegal.
We got the green light.
We do not allow, spiking on the head, the normal
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Small joint manipulation, that's a no-go. But smothering, sure. If you can smother somebody, do it.
Everything else is legal, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sick.
Yeah.
Nice. I did
Absolutely.
get sent into a wall when I did that. Though.
Yeah,
that
you
was my payback.
Yeah, you did.
That was my payback.
Nice.
That was my payback.
On Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say on that front, it's funny that you guys have like gone hard in the gym with each other. But in the one picture, I was surprised your opponent at Sprawl in the Burgh was in the picture as well. Kylie Sapola was at the Mat Factory
yeah.
Yeah,
training.
she was.
Is that common? Have you seen her there before?
I have never seen her up there before,
She's
but
been up there.
yeah, I've heard from other people that
She was checking up on you.
Is that awkward or is that cool? Like,
Nah.
what's the dynamic
It
when
was
it's there?
chill.
Yeah,
It was-
they
that's
kept
cool.
us, they kept us separate
Yeah.
for Shark Tanks.
Yeah.
And,
Okay, so they were aware. Like, hey,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
Nice.
That was the. Do they know about that time when Justin and Cam were up there for sparring?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Justin and
And
Cam
I mean,
both
and
showed
that's
up.
a
They
fight,
just kept
right?
them
So
apart.
that's
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if they can do it, But
Well, that's what we notice is like the biggest difference. Like prior to now, we've only matched MMA cards. And now like we're saying, oh, like we can't match these two people because they have they've seen each other before.
You can't do that though.
And
Right.
it's
Yeah.
not
Well,
like
and
that
like
with
and so I will say I've never trained with Kylie before. So like for like at least for me and probably for her, I don't want to speak for anybody else necessarily, but like I can study my tape all I want, but like it's still a fresh look for me.
Yeah.
Because it's hard.
Right.
It's even hard sometimes. Like I've done tape study on past super fight opponents before, but even so, especially if the tape's older than like 6 months, you don't know what they're training.
Yeah, you
Right.
You don't know
Right.
what kind of changes to their game they've made. You don't know what they're gonna try to game plan for you. So still a fresh look.
How much do you guys follow grappling in general? Because I feel like the sport changes a lot. Leg locks were all the rage 5 years ago. They were brand new and everybody was doing them and learning them. And now, it's something else.
Yeah.
How much do you keep up with trends and try to learn?
honestly not all in it.
Yeah.
I catch it here and there, but I'm not like a.
you're not about it.
I so
Isaac will teach me what matters.
I mean, I don't know.
well, so I'm roommates with Sage.
Yes.
We had to have this conversation actually after one of his classes. Anybody that wants to buy tickets from Sage, his name is Daniel Stapinski. There is no one named Sage listed on the drop down menu. So like,
Maybe
don't
we should add
should
that.
maybe
probably
add
should.
Sage.
you
Yeah.
probably should.
Well, see, we don't know that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we
No,
never
but
knew
yeah.
that.
Well, no, but that's
Tell
like,
me, Sage.
that's
Daniel.
he's like, don't refer to me by my government name. But so he's my roommate and he's been training 7,000 years and
Sounds right.
what feels like 7,000
Oh,
years.
so
And he's-
that's Ethan's opponent.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
That's a
and
fun
so-
matchup.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that one. But he's been super tuned into the grappling scene for a long time. So like I just by virtue of living with him kind of like get more of it because he talks about it a lot.
Right.
And like, like I follow like a lot of the big like who's number one and
Right.
UFC Fight Pass stuff and whatever. So I'm like kind of tuned into it and I got super into ADCC last year.
Of course.
Because
Jess is a nerd.
I'm a
With-
nerd.
with-
I do. I've caught on to
He
that.
was underplaying it for so long,
yeah.
and Selena's just like, she's a nerd,
Like
bro.
watching, and then I watch everything.
Basically, yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, I don't know. And it's interesting that you bring up leg locks because I don't remember who I was having this conversation with, but it feels very much like you can feel sometimes a little bit of a generational divide about when you
Yep.
started training.
For sure.
Like there is definitely a crop of upper belts that I've noticed, and not just in Pittsburgh, just kind of like in general across the board that like kind of missed the boat on leg locks, or like they're learning them now, or they learned them later on in their career. Versus like I'm a blue belt, and like this is just written into our curriculum now because it became part
You
of the
have
meta
to.
so quickly that like. And actually, I remember sitting in the car. So Mike Wilkins did a seminar in New York a couple of months ago. And I remember sitting in the car with him and Christian on the way back to Pittsburgh. And Christian was complaining that like, he and I did a lot of IBJJF last year where you cannot do any leg locks except for straight ankle locks until brown belt, I think. And when we're in the competition practice room training with like brown belts, black belts, high level whatever. People are ripping leg locks on us left and right. And it's like, you know, if we're getting ready for these big, like major competitions, like Nogi Pans, Nogi Worlds and whatever, this is not in our rule set. So this is not a reaction that you should be forcing out of us. And Mike had an interesting response, which was essentially like, you're not going to tell me that the top blue belts in the world right now are not also having their black belt coaches rip leg locks on them every day. So it's just kind of something that, like, yeah, if you're training a specific rule set, maybe make that clear for what you want out of your training session, but be aware that this is not something you can just flat out ignore until you're a brown belt.
Sure. Go ahead.
So would you say like having like leg locks and all that a part of your curriculum, like anyone in BJJ should be doing that, just like any adult should have like their driver's license and like
I think it's a thing. I think it's a thing that
That was awesome.
What?
That was awesome. That was awesome. Nice.
Okay, so we learned that we learned that Jess doesn't have a driver's license.
I do not.
And the funny thing is, I didn't know where you were from, and we were talking about it before you got here, and I'm like, this isn't New York City. You should have your driver's license. We were joking around about it, but then
Turns out.
Where am I going to put a car? The roof of the apartment building I grew up in?
Sure.
Hey, that's,
Yes.
you know, hey.
Okay.
Whatever it takes.
Sick.
That's beautiful. Just ambushed her with
Just
that.
fun.
Out of
That was
nowhere.
fun.
That was fun. That was very
You
fun.
got me there. You got me there.
Very fun.
He said it was fair
Yeah,
play.
yeah.
That was great. Now I had a point about actual leg locks, but now it doesn't matter at all.
Hey.
But I was going to say, being a Henzo Gracie affiliate, I would imagine, I don't know for sure, but I would imagine that you guys took it a little more seriously, because I feel like Danaher and those guys back in the day kind of started that craze.
Yeah. I mean, that's a lot of crazy stuff came out of the Blue Basement.
No doubt, including a lot of staff.
Yes. But no, yeah. No, I mean, I've been back since then. It's the hygiene standards are greatly improved.
Nice. They figured that out.
Yes, they did. But yeah, no, and I mean, I one thing, at least going back to like keeping up with current trends and stuff, one thing that I do appreciate about the way that Warren teaches is he stays very up to date on, you know, what's going on in the current grappling scene. And I remember after ADCC last year, there was a couple of weeks where he was teaching advanced blocks of classes based on specific sequences that he saw that worked
Very
at
cool.
the highest levels in ADCC. And one of those sequences was a leg lock sequence that I think it was a something from the Gordon Ryan Nikki Rod match that we were working on. But like, you know, kind of staying in tune with especially like Danaher and the new wave guys, you know, what are they up to these days? How have things changed? Because he used to go back to train in New York all the time. Like every time I go back to New York, anytime I have anything that says Pittsburgh on it, people are like, Warren. And I'm like, yes,
That's
guy.
really cool. Nice. I mean, there's no denying the success out of that place. They're the best in the world. And now, like you said, they're new wave now. They're down in Austin. But
Yeah. And there's
when
some,
it started,
well, and there's some really, really incredible talent coming out of there right now too. Like their MMA team is on fire.
Who we got? Who were you just petitioning us to have fight for? I didn't recognize that guy.
So
Unfortunately.
yeah,
Sorry,
Rob,
dude.
Rob
Don't punch me.
You might. No, Rob
Fair.
Constance, as far as I know, is not, and like he can yell at me after this if I'm wrong. But as far as I know, is like nominally in charge of the MMA guys right now. And there's a couple of people that I've seen out there, like Eli Evangelista has been on fire recently. I think he's still an amateur, but I'm not quite sure. Phaedra Knight is,
We know that name for sure.
yeah. She's like a former rugby player turned MMA fighter, and
Yep.
she's incredible. I've gotten to train with her a couple of times, and a lot of really good jiu-jitsu talent coming out of there too. I've trained with some of the colored belts that have come around to do like the world circuit and stuff. Bridget Grace, one of their black belts, actually the only female black belt instructor professor at the main academy right now. I train with her a lot.
That's sick. What an honor for her.
She's incredible. She just started, or I don't remember if it starts this week or next week, but you know, she headed up this whole women's program that I remember when that women's program first started. I was at the third class ever. It was
Nice.
like I think I was still a white belt. I had never seen so many women on the mat before ever. It was wild. And now she has a very busy teaching schedule, and she is teaching the first ever beginners no-gi class at the main academy.
Nice.
No-gi used
Really
to
cool.
only be reserved, I think, for blue belts and up, and she is now the first one to add a beginners class into the curriculum, which is really exciting.
That would be someone to get on a future card, actually.
Yes.
Because she comes down to Pittsburgh, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that who Wilkins was talking about? He's close with her. He's cornered her and stuff.
Yeah,
They've
yeah.
cornered each other maybe.
Yeah, he cornered for her at Nogi Worlds in the finals in 2021.
She
He
came down for the stout fights, too, didn't
yeah,
she? was on-
she won.
Nice.
She was the main event for Stout Fights
Yeah.
last year.
Right on.
And yeah, she's won. She's doing a lot of the ADCC Opens this year. She won weight in Vegas. She double golded in California, and she won weight and came in second in Open in Dallas.
Nice.
The only person she lost to in Dallas was Jasmine Roca.
Nice. No shame there.
No, and that was a wild match, very back and forth.
Yeah.
Roasted.
You're gonna make
hot.
weight.
I'm
We
telling
make sure people make weight.
Oh,
That's why we bring
no
them
worries about
to the
that.
podcast.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
good.
Yeah, do you weigh 115 right now? That's a very rude question.
No.
But
I love how that's like
Yeah.
a question that is like combat sports athletes are just
Yeah.
like, what do you weigh right now?
yeah. It's
It's like
super I'm
completely-
used
That's
to just
because
asking
you're
people.
the ones. You guys have to weigh in. No one else.
Yeah.
No other
I am.
sports have to.
Yeah.
Hilariously underweight right now.
It's like it doesn't matter what you tell me now. We're gonna know exactly what you weigh
Yeah.
before the fight anyway. It
I
doesn't
never
matter.
weigh
Yeah.
115 ever.
So you have to gain weight for 115 basically.
Yeah.
Or do you just come in
I
under
just-
and roll with it?
Yeah, I just roll with it.
I
Just got food poisoning, so
Could you make 05? Could you make?
yeah,
Yeah.
easily. Yeah,
So you-
05-10 would be like ideal. Yeah.
How does stout fights, their female divisions were different. I think I saw their rules. It was just like under 135 or something.
oh
Like
that's is that, I think is that for the in-house tournament.
yeah.
okay,
that's
that might
different.
be
Yeah,
that. Okay.
Yeah, the in-house tournament that we have coming up
132.
is over under 132. But that is just
Got it, got
to
it.
make sure that we have brackets.
Right on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but because like this is kind of funny, but for us being our first grappling event, we had to like research all this. We're
Yeah.
like all the weight classes are different, all the belt ranks, it's no gi, so belts don't even matter. Like
Mm-hmm.
Gray Maynard's technically a blue belt. It's like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. We're not putting you against a blue belt. So there was a lot of that throughout the entire
Not that he
card.
wanted to be against the blue.
Right. No. He
Well,
wanted Isaac for sure.
Yeah, and there is a little bit of a so I'm kind of tuned into this network of like East Coast women who compete a lot. And there does kind of end up being a lot of like, all right, we'll see these two fight each other eventually, and these two fight each other eventually, and then these two will rematch whenever. And it's kind of nice in a way when belts don't really matter like that. Like
Right.
you'll see a purple belt taking a match against a brown belt or taking a match against a blue belt.
Yep.
Like it's just kind of like whatever.
Yeah. There's quite a few on this card too. You can go top to. I mean, Ken Burrs is a good example. He's an Indio blue belt. He's facing a brown belt on the card, and they
Yeah.
never wavered at all. They're like, we don't care, bro.
Yeah.
He's ready.
Yeah.
Like, trust me, he's ready.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the big difference is like when you take a fight in MMA, like you care so much about like feeling like you have the advantage, and like both sides in an MMA fight feel like they have the advantage. Like,
Yeah.
but like whereas, and the other thing in MMA, when you like, if you say someone's name as a potential opponent, like that person's offended every time.
Yep.
Like they can say they're not, but they are offended 100%. Whereas in MMA or
Grappling.
in grappling, it is very different. Whereas like you can say someone's name, like I'd love to compete against that
Yeah.
person, and it's not offensive.
Yeah.
It's just like you think
It's an
that-
honor.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. It's so
Yeah.
different.
Like Isaac and Gray being the perfect example.
They both said yes. I'd really like
Exactly.
to compete against him.
Yeah.
And you like that's not a thing in MMA.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
you say someone's name, like it's offensive.
I'm friends. Like I keep up with a lot of people that I've run into at IBJJFs over the last year and a half or so. Like, if I've had matches with them or if they've been in my brackets, it's like there really is kind of no.
I mean, I think too, we're all excited that there's women to compete against.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's still so dominated by men. So when you meet these
Yeah.
women, it's exciting, So I feel like we have a different, I don't know.
Especially when it's like in, there feels like so much like I'm sure, you know, if you fight someone at amateur and then you go pro and you fight them at pro a couple years later, like you're both gonna have evolved and like you add new tools to the arsenal. And that's also very true in grappling, but it feels like there is a chance for that to be so much more incremental. Like I ran into the same person in the same bracket twice in the space of like 6 months in 2 different cities when I was doing the IBJJF circuit. And it's interesting getting those kind of those checkpoints of like, all right, what are you doing differently right now? What am I doing differently right now? You know, what's going to happen when we take this match when we're purple belts and then when we're brown belts and then, you know.
So do you guys feel like there's added pressure for you guys to like be fun and exciting or perform or to a certain level? Or like, how does that translate? Like you said, there's not a lot of girls. Like, do you feel like...
I honestly feel like we're exciting and just in general. You know, I think it's exciting to watch women grapple. And I think for most people it is.
My biggest thing with competition and grappling, whether it's a tournaments are maybe a little bit different because I feel podium pressure more in tournaments where I'm like, especially for single elimination, when I'm like, all right, like I gotta win or I'm out. Versus I have a lot of fun in super fights. Old training partner of mine once said that competing is like performing, where you know you want to show out, you want to show your best. And I as long as I feel like I got to do jujitsu, like I didn't just get sat on for 5 minutes or 6 minutes or whatever. I get to do jujitsu. There are cool exchanges between me and my opponent, and it was entertaining for people to watch. At the end of the day, I don't really give a shit if I win or lose. One of my favorite matches that I had at Blue Belt ever was the DC Open last June. I only had one match in no-gi because they ran gi and no-gi on the same day, and it was... Please never do that again, IBJJF. It's just don't people. It's like we don't start. You don't start the no-gi section until it's like 5 o'clock and we're all tired.
Boy, she pulled the mic over. Camera, you
listen.
And you.
I don't care.
That was like a sitcom.
Nobody gives a shit about. I'm just some random American blue belt that like whatever. But anyway, no, but like so it was me and one other person, and like I lost that match to a last minute advantage that they gave her because I shot for a takedown, got her down on the mat and went to jump over to pass, but she had my chin and I wasn't defending it because it wasn't a choke, but they scored it as a sub attempt.
Brutal.
Everything else about that match and I was like, you know what? That's fine. Like I hate that rule. I understand the rule as they applied it. But otherwise, you know, like the score was 2-2, one advantage, both of us. And at the end of the match, like it was really back and forth and I had fun. And one of the table workers came up to me afterwards and was like, you are fun to watch.
Nice.
And that's all I care about.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's how we tried to set this up, honestly. That was a big part of our format in general. Dempsey talked about it on the podcast. If you guys listen, he was saying about how a lot of people just play points in jiu-jitsu. And he's not about that life.
Oh, I watched him get so mad at Worlds last year because his finals opponent his semifinals opponent, I think, just played the edge of the mat. I watched him drag someone back into the middle of the mat.
It's brutal.
Yeah.
It's brutal to watch. And I think the cage makes it even better because you can't get away from the opponent.
Yeah.
You can't go out of bounds.
Have you guys done any
Reset.
practicing in the cage?
I got to while I was in Iceland. So
Okay.
that was cool.
Nice.
Yeah.
How was it very different for you?
So I've talked to a couple of people about it. Like, you know, I train with Britt Bickhart a lot.
Yeah.
You know, she says she was like, don't train on the cage too much if you don't have to, because you're gonna smash your face into it and it's terrible and whatever.
Right.
Like the wall is fine.
Right.
But I at least wanted a feel at least once for like how it's gonna bounce.
Mm-hmm.
And it was cool. It's different enough that like things that I wasn't sure if they were working that I was doing, I'm like, oh, I see how this could work.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, also don't smash your face in the cage.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
That's what Isaac said. He's like, Gray's gonna be in his world in the
Element.
cage, and
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of wall work though. We're getting it. We're getting that practicing for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stout doesn't have a cage, but they do have like a little fence, right? There's a
Dude,
little bit of like.
There's a little
link.
bit of fence, but
Yeah.
that fence is from like the OG gym.
Okay.
That fence might be like 10. How
Wait,
old is
I
that?
thought
It's like
the new
really
gym
old.
had a.
They have a ring
There's a
for
ring.
sure.
We have
Yeah.
a ring. So they took the
been
cage down
a
in
while.
Zealy. I know, because they needed more mat space, I think. But
So the
yeah.
new stout never had a cage. I
the
thought-
the Bridgeville one.
Yeah.
I
No,
haven't
no,
been
no,
out.
no, 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 no. The
Strip.
the strip.
Oh, the strip one.
Newest location there never had a cage.
No.
What if there was a place where 247 veterans could come and use a cage, Ryan? Just to like train in a
That would-
cage to feel it. That would be sweet.
Oh,
That'd
nice.
be awesome.
It would definitely be awesome.
That
Could-
should
imagine if
definitely
that happened.
Imagine.
Could you imagine, ladies and gentlemen?
I still want to get in there one day.
I was gonna ask you because you were talking about it earlier that you were.
Yeah.
I never knew this. Were you training to fight at the time, or what was? Why were you
Well-
or hitting mitts a lot, training in the cage?
I think it honestly happened by accident because of Megan. When Megan was around, she was the only small ass girl, and
Well, you guys were like the perfect size for each other, right?
So I think she kind of just like dragged me into it, like it when I first started
Like
it.
literally.
Stout. Yeah,
Like she just.
yeah, for sure. So then it just grew from there, and then I don't know, just ended up always being in a room that I probably didn't belong in, and then kept that up. And I think I only declared it really like out loud that I wanted to fight probably like maybe a little before 2 years ago. Do you remember? I think Chris Williams told you, he was like, yeah, Selena wants to fight, we're gonna get her in there October. And there was an October card, and then I don't know what happened. I think it's hard because I got a lot of I'm like juggling a lot.
If he said it to me, then I
Yeah.
probably didn't connect that
Yeah.
he meant you.
Yeah. So yeah, I declared it. I said it, and then I don't know. I have a business and a little girl, and you know,
You got a
it's-
bucket. Like
it's,
you got to.
it's hard. I can only do so much on my own. So
sure.
and I know firsthand, like, you're not just gonna get in there if you're not ready for it. And also now, I mean, even at Stout, Mike, I think Mike knew just because I was always there, so he knew I could do it. But then
Mhm.
when I switched gens, like, Isaac knew me, but he didn't know me as well as Mike, so he's not just gonna throw me in there. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, yeah, I think you got to take that shit serious, and I did. But also, I was not doing what I needed to do in order to get in there. I don't know how I could, but I would love to. But I just don't know if it's gonna line up. you
I
know?
think
Yeah.
this will like definitely give you a feel for like what all of that experience. Like,
Yeah.
I think the experience a lot of times
Yeah.
can be like overwhelming for people, like
oh yeah.
to
Oh,
debut and do all
yeah,
that
I'm
stuff.
so excited
Yeah.
for this.
This
Yeah.
will
live for this
totally
shit.
get,
Yeah.
because just to give you guys some kind of indicator, like we have our MMA show and our Sprawl and the Burgh show.
Mm-hmm.
Like tickets were on sale at the same time. Online, ticket sales for Sprawl are like kicking Brawl's butt.
Yeah, people are
Yeah.
hyped about this
Yeah.
for
Let's
sure.
go.
Yeah, they should be. It's gonna be great.
And then the giant stack of tickets that I
All right,
managed to-
braggart.
Listen,
Get
She bragging.
listen,
She bragging.
y'all just like
The
I
new
said,
face
it's a,
of 2%.
listen, it's like, if you're treating this like a performance,
Yeah.
you gotta
Yeah.
push yourself as a
Yeah.
product.
You're
You
right.
get it,
You're
yeah.
right. You're right.
Well, that's the case for bands too, right? They
Yeah.
expect you to bring people to their venue. That's why you're there.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear you. Like
That's-
the,
Well,
the
so they
promoter
don't-
doesn't care about your music.
Well, so the promoter doesn't care about your music at first, and then you drag a whole bunch of people
Exactly.
along with
And then
you,
they're like,
and
it
that's how you end up.
sounded so good.
Well, that's how you end up with a residency at the bitter end for like several months on end in New York
Nice.
City. So
Boom. Speaking from experience,
Yeah.
should you get a 247 residency after this, Ryan?
Bam, 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 bam.
Should.
if y'all ever need if you ever want to replace your walkout music with like live band, hit me up.
Nice.
It's tricky though because like
Nice.
we all train together. We're all on the card.
Mhm.
Like literally everybody. You know.
It is
so
crazy,
I'm like,
honestly.
who
This
do you
card
go
is
to
so
for
nuts.
tickets? Jess.
Yeah,
just-
I didn't-
she
What do
snuck
you
her
do
ass
in the
there.
band?
So this was when I was
Just sing it for us.
what?
Sing the answer. Just sing it. Come on.
Wait, do you
Come on.
sing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
Yeah. Trust me.
Yeah,
We have
Do you
road
want-
trips.
So so to answer your question, I was in a band in New York City before I moved. My primary role was I was the bass
shouldn't have
player.
said this.
I was the bass player and the manager, but I split lead vocals with our vocalist every now and then.
What?
Yeah, we have an
Okay.
EP on Spotify.
Okay. Wait. You do know we like save like most of the time we play the national anthem. We just play a version of the national
Jess
anthem.
would
do you want
kill
me to sing it?
Jess would kill
But
it.
and I'm dead serious. Like only special people. Like we let
Yeah.
like Jennifer Fennell, who I'm very good friends with, who like kills it. We let her do it a couple times, once or twice, and we let Adam Milstead do it once, or maybe
Milstead,
twice,
Let's go.
and that's been it. And if like those two haven't been available, like we had
Brianna
we had
Apley.
Brianna do
yeah.
it once, but like we're selective. We're not letting just like anyone that wants to.
Should she audition right now?
You want me to? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, dude, it's
Okay.
gonna
don't
happen.
make me sing. Don't make me sing
yes.
the anthem right now, though. That's
You don't have to do the anthem now, but
Look,
like
she's
we
gonna-
need
she's
to
gonna
hear.
take a sip of her water and do.
Like it's gonna
Well, I'm
be.
trying to think. What do I sing?
Check
Sing one of
check
your
out my melody.
That's right.
Look
I
how
was
about
waiting
it.
for
Look
it.
how about it she
Should I
is.
sing the music song that I was?
Wait, is this the will of the people, perhaps?
Oh, come on.
Nah, that one's not quite in my range. But also, like I said,
I'm good.
like I
Thank you.
said, if you can't guess what my next walkout song is gonna be, you should probably follow me on Instagram.
All right, we do need to have a talk about walkout music though, because this is very important. So listen. You can bring the mic back. I have good news for you. I've made an executive decision that
This is news to me.
yeah. See, this is
Because hold on, I gotta hear this.
we
I gotta see if you're gonna be employed tomorrow.
guys.
or not.
There's literally 32 matches on this card right now. So for us and for the DJ, that is way too much, dude.
Yeah.
That's way too much to organize.
brown and black belts.
Well, we
Fight-
had a talk.
Fight
we
to win does do it.
Yeah, I was
though.
gonna
Just
say
saying.
fight to win does.
Okay, well then go fight for that.
Yeah, go.
I mean, we got to bully Seth Daniels
Yeah,
back onto the coast
What's
first.
up, Seth? Stealing our athletes. Seth's awesome. We like fight to win too. But
He's out there on the West Coast for now.
we did decide that we're gonna rank the card a little differently for Sprawl and the Burgh because it's no gi and belts don't matter. So popularity reigns supreme here. It's not just white to black. It's not that simple. Popularity matters. Now belt also matters, but they both factor into where you're going to be on the card. So I'm drawing a line of we will do X number of walkout songs for X number of athletes. And you made the cut.
Just so you know, the reason behind not having we have 30 some bouts. Like
And an MMA
Like-
card the next day.
people don't want to be there for 5 hours.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
right.
just the
Yeah.
reality.
No, that's
To
fair.
keep a show in the 3 hour mark, which 3.5 hours is really the sweet spot that we've always tried to strive for. Now we've had some exceptions to that and we didn't like it, but it kind of happened. One being our last show, which is Brawl in the Burgh 16, which was a
so
great
long, dude.
show, but it was too long. It's too like so we set up 16 fights. We always have multiple fights fall out like we've having this show, and no fights fell off. And so
Yeah.
we ended up with way more fights than we really wanted. But with 32 bouts,
That's
it's
way too much. It's way too much.
we gotta yeah.
But
Fine with me.
we also discussed, we never made this a formal thing, but we were talking about like a social media MVP of this event. And listen, Jess is winning.
Jess is doing it.
Let's be honest.
Blair Phillips is Blair Phillips. What?
Chipmunk. It was Chipmunk for a
Oh, he
second.
did the who was?
Yeah, well, yeah, it was me
See,
talking.
without the headphones, I don't
Ah,
hear
that
you.
does suck. That does suck.
Yeah.
Sage is probably second place. Who were you going to
Oh,
say?
for sure. He spent
I
all
was gonna say Blair Phillips. He's
dude.
literally winning on a different
different
card.
event.
Yeah, he's so good. He's
Dude,
Yeah.
Blair's amazing
well
at it.
that Star Wars thing that Sage did. He
Oh.
spent,
Yeah,
he
that was
spent
great.
all day doing that. Like, let me be very clear.
It was so good.
Let me be very clear about that. I came downstairs this morning to see him hunched over his keyboard with Austin Warman's cutout face on his monitor, and he's like cackling to himself, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? And he's like, don't worry about it.
I love that he loved it so much while he was making it, just like
Yeah.
chuckling like a mad scientist.
Yeah, he's a huge Star Wars nerd, so
Yeah, I honestly I've never seen a single one. That's crazy. I know you guys.
No,
can
I've
roast me,
never. I'm
that's
not a
fine.
Star Wars
Nice,
guy, but
nice.
I think I would be. I just haven't seen them. Like, I think it's nerdy and stuff, but I actually think I
Jess
would like it a
leaving
lot.
again. She's leaving. Wait, do you like it, Jess?
I like it. So
Okay.
I didn't grow up with it the way that some of my friends did, but
Right.
like I am very into the sci-fi vibe.
Yeah.
Star Wars, yes or no, Selena? You've seen them all?
Not all of them.
Okay.
Are you
Did
into
you
like
watch The Mandalorian?
sci-fi? Like,
I'm only so much.
we
of a
have two
nerd.
conversations.
Yeah.
Can you do two conversations
split
on a
these-
podcast
split
and
these.
have?
Well, I'm still trying to brainstorm what song I'm auditioning with
Oh,
right now.
shit. Yeah, I
So we
forgot
gotta-
about
we
Oh,
that.
gotta
she's still
leave time
planning
for
to
that.
sing.
We gotta leave time
Stick
for that.
around,
at the
ladies
end.
and
I know,
gentlemen.
Yeah. See what comes out of my mouth later.
So
not
a star is born. Has anyone seen that? A Star is Born.
With Lady Gaga.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my! I loved it. So that's the song you can sing.
I don't know that one off the top of my head. I gotta.
No,
gotta do
she's
something-
doing an original.
I know. Well. I mean, I can do a Terror and the Dactyl song.
I've heard them enough.
You haven't. We got more than just what's on the EP, girl.
She does have to drive you home though, Jess.
Just
So just keep that in
You
mind.
don't have a
Totally.
license.
Oh my
I
goodness.
recall, you were the one screaming "Taking Back Sunday" on the way
Yeah,
to Ohio last
That's
time.
fair.
Wait,
That's
so
fair.
you sing too? Is what you're saying?
Hell no.
Carpool
I'll sing,
karaoke,
but
baby.
It ain't good. Yeah, it's not good. We have a good time. We've had a few road trips together.
Yes.
So
To the
so
same
I've got
tournament
to- yeah.
a bunch of times.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
kind of bizarre, but
Yeah.
So with you two training together, has there ever been like guys when they train together a lot, they will have moments. Have you guys ever had a
we've
moment?
competed against each other
Yeah.
too.
At white belt.
Yeah. No, there's no.
Nice.
So there's
Never.
never
Know each
been a
other then?
moment where where you guys looked at each other and wanted to kill each other. No.
No.
I mean, we'll scrap, but it's like you get up, shake hands, and it is what
Well, I
it is.
mean, with guys,
So-
it's that way too. But
Yeah,
there's
'cause
like
they got
moments.
big egos. Yeah.
Nah,
we're-
never,
no,
uh,
it's cool.
Never with us.
It's all cool, especially with us because we've known each other for so long and we've already competed against each other. It's just
We got
been
that out of the
great.
way early.
Yeah, it's been great.
So when you guys competed against each other, were you guys training it all together?
Yeah, I trained at Stout. We
Mhm.
trained together.
Yeah, it was at the in-house.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I don't remember how it went, but I'm sure it was
think
good for me.
I think I won on points, but you like stuffed me in a triangle that I took like 2 minutes to get out
I
of.
don't remember.
Yeah.
We had a good time though. And
That
then-
was that. Oh man.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell that story?
No.
Yes,
Okay.
you do.
No, I don't.
Well, I'll tell it.
Good.
So, there was a dearly beloved training partner of mine at the time who she still trains. She's just mostly up in Zelienople now, I think.
You did make it sound like she was dead for a second
Yeah,
there.
I thought it was.
Well,
I thought it
so-
was someone that passed.
No, she
She just passed guard.
Hey.
her first look
The
at
best thing
you
he
no
said.
understanding
It was-
jujitsu.
yeah, it was good.
But
I'm sorry.
there's
You
a
said that out loud, you know.
I'm getting kicked off the car.
Remember when
we had
Selena
a-
was scheduled to
we
fight?
had
That's
a match
good.
fall off, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, Breaking news.
No, but
She sweated
we
up.
had a
Sweated up the
there
studio.
we go. That's what I wanted to pull this.
There you go. Yeah, you
Lord,
can move it
now I
wherever
can-
you need.
Now I can see.
Ashley.
Beautiful.
Yeah, Ashley.
Yeah.
She and I did our first tournament together ever, or first ever tournament. It was a Grappling Industries. It was like 9 months into my training, I think. We were both white belts, and it was the last match of the day. And it was nogi, and it was best of 3 against this one girl from I think Elite Combatives maybe. And I to this day, it's still like I can still hear it. She had her arm snapped in half in an Americana. And like it was bad. It was really bad. She was out for like a year and a half, I think. And that girl that broke her arm showed up to our in-house like a year later, and Selena beat the shit out of her.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Revenge.
We
Yeah.
got our revenge.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah,
dude.
there's
so
like-
you knew
I
going
did
in
not
though.
break her
Did you
arm.
know going in like that's the girl?
Oh yeah, we all
I
knew who
think
she
we were all
was.
hyped up about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so let
We're
me, so this girl breaks the other girl's arm, right?
Mhm.
And was it the type where like as someone who like is mainly an MMA person and not a grappling or jujitsu person,
Mhm.
like I know that there's a point where like you give them the opportunity, like I don't know, is this standard that you give them the opportunity to kind of tap, and then if they don't, then you take it further.
So it very much depends on the tournament. I think in like a local grappling industries tournament, when you're a white belt, like
Yeah.
you don't. It's kind of common courtesy to not just be like ripping things left.
But
and
when
right.
you're a
Like,
white belt, aren't you also at a level where you might
Right.
not know that?
so the way that it was explained
There
to
is
me, so the way that it was explained to me, it's unclear if I was told that my teammate verbally tapped and the girl did not let go. I cannot confirm or deny if that is the case. But either way, it was like I think it was a leg Americana too. So it was one of those things where it's like that's something that you can't necessarily tell how much pressure you're putting on someone.
Sure.
And also, the ref that was on that mat was hungover, and I know that because he
was out drinking with me the night
like
before.
cigarettes.
no, so he was hungover. He was
Smelled like
hungover,
an
and I knew that
ashtray.
because he refed a bunch of my matches, and I heard him be like, "Yeah, I'm like hungover as shit." Which like,
my god.
don't please.
Yo, Renee
please.
Sousa. Renee Sousa is going to be one of our refs, by the way, for
shit.
Sprawl in the
Oh,
Burgh.
that's
Oh,
awesome.
So that's
shit.
really cool.
That's so
We're very
exciting.
pumped
Very
about that.
cool.
Breaking
Excited for him to
news.
come back.
Oh, we didn't post that?
No, not
Oh, I
yet.
thought we did.
Can you
No.
not, Renee? Yeah, he did
Oh,
post
yeah, he
about
did.
it.
Yeah, okay.
Can he
I love
please
that dude.
don't
Yeah.
get smashed until we'll do cowboy shots after the show.
Sick. No, but it was the kind of thing where I am sure he was not paying attention.
You're talking about Renee Sousa? He
definitely.
always pays attention.
I'm
just so
aware.
you know.
He does.
He helped
That's-
corner me at finishers recently.
Nice.
Yeah, that was
What
fun.
a dude. He's
Yeah.
been
He
nothing
was-
but awesome.
He was yelling at me to buggy choke this girl. I'm like, do
Of
you
course.
see how? Well, I'm like, do you see the proportion of my limbs and how that doesn't work?
Not built for buggy choking.
No.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, but it's the kind of thing like that ref like after one of my matches where I tapped the girl, he like looks at us and was like, "Which one of you won?" And I'm like, "You've got to be kidding me."
That's wild.
Yeah, so
That's
it was
wild.
it was definitely like so many things went wrong here that like this could have absolutely been avoided.
For sure.
But
Okay, so help me understand. Like, there is the common courtesy of like giving someone the opportunity to tap.
for local tournaments, yes.
Okay.
At things like Worlds where I had my elbow busted apart, you grip it and rip it.
Yeah, yeah. You
Okay, what about like Sprawl?
Grip it and
Rip it and rip it.
Okay,
Yeah, I mean, we've seen it with Chase Boyd. Chase Boyd will take your leg home. If he gets a chance, he's taking it.
and literally that video is what's like triggering that question.
Yeah, I mean, just my perspective. In a competition, dude, like
These
it
are-
goes, man. It
Yeah,
goes.
it's like
I'm sorry.
Like, these are higher, especially for like super fight
Yeah.
cards. Like
Yeah,
these are higher
exactly.
level matches where
Yep.
we are getting paid a commission. Like just grip it and rip it.
For sure. And I totally honestly agree with that. It sucks. I'm
Yeah.
not happy. Like, I genuinely don't want anybody to break their arm or dislocate
Well, and
their
it's the kind of thing
ankle,
where like,
but
and it's the kind of thing where like it is on. If you are having a submission applied to you, it is on you to know where the point of no return is.
yeah,
Yep.
Like
right.
you are trapped and it is locked in, and there is no way for you to escape. Just tap.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I heard Dempsey talk about that. Might have been on the podcast. I'm not sure. We've done so many at this point that like I don't remember when something
Done
occurred.
one with him though.
Yeah, yeah.
bro.
Just one with him, but
Come on,
still.
bro.
But genuinely,
Know
it's like,
where you
did we talk
heard it.
about that. Like, do people
See, I
have
get on
people
his
heard
shit,
this?
too.
It's true. But he was like, this was before I started learning leg locks, and like somebody put me in a leg lock. I just tapped. I wasn't in danger. I just knew that like I also don't know how to get out of this.
Yeah.
So
The thing
yeah.
with leg locks, especially too, is if you don't know how the proper defense, you can injure yourself
Right.
turning the wrong way.
Remember BJ? I'm like the MMA nerd. I'm sorry. BJ Penn when he fought Ryan Hall. And
Yeah.
Ryan Hall dove on a leg, and BJ literally turned the wrong way, and I was like,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
Like BJ just did that.
That's it's,
Prodigy.
Yeah.
yeah. No, and that's so, like what happened to me at Worlds was like for me it was a little bit of like it's tough because you don't want to be injuring yourself. You don't want to be you never want your partner to be injured or your opponent to be injured.
Sure.
But there is the adrenaline factor, right? And like that's kind of when people have talked to me about my injury at Worlds, which was I got caught in a belly down armbar, and I went to step over to try to circle out of it, and she just like hipped into it, and I didn't feel how stuck my arm was until I felt my elbow separate.
Mm-hmm.
And I tore my UCL and I was out for a couple of months. But and it's just, you know, sometimes you don't feel it until it's too late.
Yeah.
And that's definitely a thing that like our instructors harp on for leg locks, especially. It's like you don't feel it until your knee explodes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And I'm sure the adrenaline goes both ways too. The person applying the submission is applying it harder than usual, and you're also defending it harder than usual. So
Yep.
it just creates this perfect storm of
Yeah,
injury.
I remember Christian at Gi Worlds when he was still a juvenile, I think. He lost his semifinals match because he had the kid in a fully locked armbar with his arm all the way extended, and like you could tell it was hyperextended, and the kid just didn't tap.
That's so gross to see.
Yeah.
Like those videos get me, dude.
Yeah.
Like broken arms and legs more even are so disgusting.
Yeah,
to
or
watch.
even my
Sound
friend.
is, like,
Yeah.
When you
Well,
can
and that's-
literally
do you
hear
watch
it.
One at all?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you see the Mikey Musumeci
Yes,
leg lock?
yes.
Where the
He just kept shredding the dude's knee for 10 minutes.
yeah,
and I'm
he
like,
had
what are
the
we
guy in
doing?
a fully locked in heel hook
Yes,
or knee bar,
yes.
terrible something. And I remember seeing something that the doctor was like, it looks like this dude was in a motorcycle accident.
Literally. Yeah, the news, and this is like, I don't know how to, I'll ask you guys, I guess, because that guy in that match, I'm sorry, I forget his name, but they were like, he's out for at least a year for sure.
He's
and
never-
like, what's the point? Why
That's-
did you just do it? Just
Oh,
tap.
that
Why
guy's-
don't you just tap?
Well, it's like, oh, it's a pride thing. I'm like,
It's
dude,
not.
you are you might have to retire now.
Exactly.
Like that
exactly.
is you are reconstructing your entire knee.
Yeah, there was a point where Mikey, if you guys go rewatch it, Mikey was literally like
Like,
making
what
faces
the
like,
hell?
"What is
Yeah.
this dude? I can feel it." And in the post-fight
and
interview,
you
he's
can.
like,
That's
"Yeah,
the like I've never gotten to the point where I'm like ripping people's whatever apart, but like even sometimes I'll something snaps when I'm holding it and I'm like, oh my god.
yeah, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Like, start running.
Yeah.
I didn't. Wasn't me.
I am glad to hear though that at Sprawl you guys are treating it like pretty seriously. That's
Yeah.
honestly, I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't sure because there's a lot of friendliness to this event on one level, like we just said, Kylie Sapola literally
Yeah.
training at the Mat Factory. A lot of camaraderie and community, but at the same time, you guys are treating these matches that they matter.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
a super fight. It should matter. I mean, they should all matter, but especially a super fight, and it's for 247. You know?
Like the ego side of me is like, wow, that's awesome. And like the other side of me is like, this is our first one. Like, why? Like, is it because
You
like
put on
we put on a good show
Yeah.
and like we put a lot of effort behind it?
For
Is
sure.
Because
that
you have
why?
you have
Yeah.
a track record
Yeah.
at this point, right?
I
Like this
remember-
is not just some
some rinky dink ass super fight that's getting thrown together and, you know,
Mhm.
being treated like whatever. I remember actually, Megan might have been on the card. I don't remember who it was. But anyway, the first show that I went to that you guys put on, and I was like thrilled because, you know, you get people who put so much fucking work into this shit, and at the end of the day, whether it's their first fight or they're a professional, they're getting in there, they put all this time, they dedicated all this energy into this, and it should be treated like I think a professional event, and you guys did that. And I remember thinking like, this is amazing, this is how everybody should be treated. And instead of this, I don't know, I've been to like enough fights in Ohio or West
Sure.
Virginia or
We
whatever.
all
that-
have.
you
Yeah,
know,
we've
like,
seen the-
and it's
yeah.
whatever. Like if you have, obviously you gotta. I mean, it's
when
a
especially
grind, but
especially when like you can be self-contained in that, you know, you have a streaming platform and you have
yeah,
ways to do it that are like not complicated. Like the
Yeah.
the market share of, you know, platforms to which you can stream your jujitsu event
Mhm,
is what? Flow Grappling, UFC Fight Pass, Fight TV,
mhm.
And now us.
and like is and anything and right and
Yeah,
like
literally.
otherwise
And I'll
otherwise
tell
it's
you,
like figure it out and you know you have figured it out. You have
Yeah,
a
yeah.
self-contained app and like, you know.
and it's, well, that's the thing. Like I think part of why this is happening now and it didn't happen before, well, one was COVID, but two is like I've been approached by a lot of people that wanted me to do different like sports, like jujitsu and grappling and boxing and stuff. And I was always like, MMA is my passion. Like I don't have a passion for that. So I can't I can't put that level out the same way. But like now I have these guys and like
that guy especially,
and his level of passion for grappling and wrestling and jiu-jitsu is like completely off the charts. And this guy, he knows like grappling like I don't know grappling. And so now I know that I can like have that passion which I want to have. Like it's just like it's not there yet. Like for me personally, now I know these guys can handle that. And so that's why it's like let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Definitely.
And especially like, you know, like the sub only rule set, though, like the sub only rule set in a specified amount of time. Like true sub only annoys the hell out of me. Like nobody wants to see a 40-minute long match where
Gordon and Felipe
fucking
oh my
palming
god,
each other in the face. Like just if you can't sub one in fit, like if you're a higher level black belt and you want a 15-minute match, like okay, fine. Anything beyond that is just get the job done.
For sure.
Go to ref's decision. Like somebody had to be more offensive. Like my god.
Totally agree.
And if somebody wasn't more offensive, then they're doing the old IBJJF sit and stall in 50-50. And nobody wants to see that.
Yeah, I think that's part of our built-in, I don't know to call it charm or whatever, advantage that we have with this is being inside a cage and being primarily still an MMA promotion. Like we know what, I think you guys all know what we expect. Like we want you to go hunting submissions. We don't want to watch your traditional, no offense to that, IBJJF like submission.
Little bit of
like,
offense to them.
A little bit.
Quite
sure.
frankly.
They can take it. That's fine. They're fine. They're going to be fine.
They're doing just fine.
They're going to be fine. We're not here for points and like winning on a technicality. We want action. We want to see submissions. And
I had my first super fight ever. It was in a gi. It was for RJJC. I don't know if they're still around. I haven't seen.
I didn't see them post ever since that
much
last
out of them.
event.
Yeah, I fought with them twice. They were really good. I think.
What did that stand for? Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Randori Jiu-Jitsu Championship. I think.
Okay, cool. I want to look that up.
But yeah, they put on a good. They had Tim Spriggs commentating.
Oh, nice. Tim's beast.
Yeah. But my first match ever, or my first super fight ever, the girl and I are like chill now. She's a purple belt out in Eastern PA. And we ran into each other at the DC Open, and she was like, you know, or we were talking because we ended up facing each other in the open class for Nogi. And she was like, all right, let's see how this goes. Technically, you beat me on points in our super fight. And I was like, yeah, but it was sub only, and they gave you the decision. So like,
that's kind of funny. I never thought about that. So like, our decision is going to be based on a variety of things, which you guys will find out. Like mostly aggression, submission attempts, things like that.
We were told that at Kumite.
Yeah.
But it wasn't.
It's always up to the ref's discretion at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like that's tough when it's submission only, and I get that. So that's funny though that you had a match and she acknowledged like, if we were playing for points, you totally just beat me.
Yeah, but it's like, but you know, it was like, you know, I would have scored. I watched the match back, and I'm like, I think I would have scored 2 takedowns, and I don't remember if I got a sweep or not. She definitely would have scored at least 1 sweep, but she had me in that sweep. She had me stuck in a Kimura for like a minute. And it was at the end of the match, and I kept trying to circle out, and like she was doing a really good job of retaining. So like, yeah, cool. I got those 2 takedowns, but like in the ref's eyes, especially since it was in the last minute of the match, like she had that really solid submission attempt, and that's I'm assuming that's why they gave it to her, which in my opinion deserved.
Yeah.
And again is
I
another example of a match where I was like, you know what? I'm not mad about this. It was really fun. It was back and forth. Also, it was a catch weight, and she outweighed me by 15 pounds. So the fact that we could have a really back and forth and fun match for other people to watch,
yeah,
it was really cool. Yeah,
that's awesome. I will simplify it for like our listeners and fans and refs and everybody. The way I've been looking at it and describing it to the refs that I've been talking to is like, if this was an MMA round, who won that round? Yep. It's that easy at the end of the day. Like there's no strikes, obviously, but who won that round? Control, aggression, submission attempts. Those are the things that matter in MMA. We're an MMA promotion. It's inside the cage. Who won that?
Yeah.
It should be pretty. I'm sure there's going to be decisions at Sprawl in the Burgh that people think the wrong guy won. I just expect that. But
it happens every time.
Yeah, exactly. You can't avoid that in this game.
Even in my match at Kumite, like I watched back with commentary, and all of them were like, this truly could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like,
Who did you face at Kumite?
Hannah Pickerel.
Okay.
She just got her purple belt like a week or two ago from Robbie Maloff at Limitless.
Nice.
That guy is weird.
Bro, Robbie, bro, you're
He's
so weird,
weird.
dude.
That dude's weird.
We love Robbie. Robbie's the man.
Yeah, Hannah was really cool. I got to talk to her a little bit after our match. She was primarily a gi girl, but she agreed to do no gi for me if I agreed that we would not play heel hooks. And I
Fair.
said, that's fine.
I love that.
Yeah, and she, I knew she was going to be taller than me. I didn't expect how much taller than me she was. Again, I will post it on Instagram later, but like there's a still frame from our match where we're both standing upright, and I think she is an entire head taller than me.
she's
That's
pretty
wild.
tall.
That's wild.
Very long. She had a good match strategy of pulling me into her close guard, and her legs were very long. Took me a while to get out.
Yep.
But
We had a fun time though.
we had a really
We
fun
had a
time.
really good time.
Who'd you
Cincinnati
compete
was really
against,
fun.
Selena?
Chelsea Lagrassi. I don't know how to
Right.
say her last name.
Sure.
She was an MMA fighter. So I knew that was gonna be tough, and it was. Yeah, it was good. It was good though.
Yeah.
We had a good match.
This might
was-
be new. Go ahead.
That was in Robbie's like gym, right? Or,
no,
like,
that wasn't the
No, that
Limitless
was
card.
Oh,
Kumite
okay.
does it.
Okay,
Actually,
it was Kumite.
Yeah.
I actually got to talk to Hannah about it a little bit because she said she competed for them the second card that they had, and this was I think their 6th, and she was like, "Man, this was so much smoother this time."
It was very smooth.
It's so tough.
Does-
dude.
does-
People underestimate
Does
it.
that Kumite and the one that used to be here are totally
Different
Totally
things.
different,
Yep.
yeah.
Totally different
Yeah,
things.
this one they do at like a proscenium like stage venue. It was really cool.
Madison Theater. or
Madison Theater,
something.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I got to talk to oh god, I'm forgetting his name.
So is it on a stage?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just one, like super fights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was a hot sec where I was like, good lord, please do not let us
Don't
fall off the
throw
stage.
off the stage. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was on a stage on like a platform?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Don't gotta
So
worry
if you
about that.
fell,
Like a
it was like
theater.
10
It was
feet.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've checked out lots of
Sounds
different
terrifying.
like
It was fun.
It was cool.
It was
Venues?
really cool.
Yeah.
we've checked out tons of venues and like including like theaters where like we had some awesome theaters that especially the one in Virginia that didn't end up,
God, the one that got away.
it is
Absolutely.
it is it was this like Virginia hey, news we were really close to doing a show and like to going to Virginia.
Like literally just had to sign on the dotted line to make it happen.
We were
Yeah.
that close. And now we're
somewhere else.
committed.
Going a different direction.
Somewhere
Oh
else.
yeah, the other way.
Boy,
A mirage of sorts.
But we,
mirage that somehow only I know about.
I
don't
am
know how that
impressed.
happened.
we
That-
don't want to.
no.
We don't want to jump around and be like, oh, we're gonna have a show here, have a show here, have a show.
Yeah.
Like we want to have
Roots.
like let's root somewhere else now. Now that we're rooted well here and we're like doing our thing here, let's go there and do that same thing in addition to.
Yeah.
And that's what we want to do.
But that speaks to your Instagram addiction for sure, though, because you saw it. Not many people saw it. It was maybe
Danny
not-
saw it. He
Danny
got that
Palm
same
saw it.
addiction.
A couple people saw it, but yeah, we'll have an announcement for you guys here in due time. But I did want to drop some breaking news on you guys. That's kind of fun. I think maybe it might be fun for you guys, and I hope I'm right because Danny was talking about this. But who did Carly Joe face at Kumite?
Oh.
I competed against her too, and I can't think of her name.
Yeah,
right now.
Sasha Reynolds.
Yeah, Sasha.
Yeah, she's
You're
competing
such
at
a
Sprawl in the Burgh.
Hey, that's exciting. That's really exciting.
That's really exciting.
Who's
Yeah.
her opponent?
In
Come
due
on.
time. No, yeah,
Uh,
we'll announce it. We'll announce it. You guys remember Calvin Harbaugh, who just fought Ethan Goss and beat Shaka Worthy before that in December for us in MMA?
Mhm.
His wife, Tara Harbaugh, is facing Sasha Reynolds.
Oh, cool.
That's
very
breaking
cool.
news.
And
Yeah,
and,
Sasha's
and
a dog.
Tara's like
A beast, too.
but like I don't know, these people are just like awesome people. Like they're people you
Mhm.
want to be around. They're people you want to
Absolutely.
hang out with. Like,
Mhm.
and that's what I would say about Tara is like she's just a really nice, awesome person.
For real.
And so to have her on our card and be able to compete,
Yeah. Sasha's been cool to talk to, and her dad, I believe, Boomer Reynolds.
Yeah.
I assume that's not his given name, but I love that name. I hope
That's
it is.
actually-
Boomer, if it's your given name, that's sick. I love
He's
that.
a cool dude.
Yeah. Oh, you know him?
Well, I've competed
Just from
against
there.
her, and then
Yeah,
we all
yeah.
see each other around.
That's
at
the thing about
tournaments.
being that's another thing about being a woman in jiu-jitsu. You run into a lot of teenagers
yeah.
in tournaments
Yeah.
because you get those handful of teenagers that like have growth spurts early.
Yes.
So like I fought a green belt at the Arnold's this past March who was my size.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it because
Yeah. Well, no, I know.
they're all my size.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, when we were initially trying
I
to match you,
know.
there was a 16-year-old from
Yeah.
enlisted
Yeah.
9 that was going to take it, and you
Yeah.
were like, "Please don't put me against another teenager."
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and even that's the thing is that's the reason that competing at blue belt in IBJJF can be terrifying if you are not master's age yet is because you cannot get promoted to so the way that the belt promotion systems works is that if you have been training your entire life starting at the age of like 3, 4, 5, however early you're allowed to be belted, the fastest you can get your purple belt is 16. So you stay in the kids belt system until you turn the year you turn 16, and then you either get promoted to blue or purple. I have a lot of opinions about these people that are out here beating black belts being promoted to blue because they want to win world titles at every belt color.
right.
That's a whole separate podcast. But that's, when they turn 18, then that's when they go into the adult brackets. So like when they're 16 and 17, they get kind of siphoned off into what they call juvenile. But like
Here's the nerd in her.
yes, this is the rules nerd in me. But
we've seen this
yes, but
for an hour and a half now.
I know. But like that's what happened to me. And there was a girl that I fought twice last year at IBJJF. She was an ex-juvenile and she beat the shit out of me because she was an 18-year-old blue belt that immediately like won Nogi Worlds and then got promoted to purple.
It's the level of youth jujitsu. I feel like recently is just so
Wild.
nuts. It's
It's
so
so
nuts.
great.
When you
Wild,
watch some
yeah.
of these kids, and it's just like, I mean, there's some on this card
Liam.
too. Yeah, Liam,
Liam.
Jaden, Leighton, like all the ones that we have on this card, I think are going to be insanely sick
Yeah.
matches. And Sasha competing
For sure.
against a
She's
grown
young.
ass woman, Tara Harbaugh. Like,
Yeah.
that's what I was telling. Like, you have, when you're that good, you have to face an adult. There's no
Yeah.
other 16-year-old on earth that's going to challenge
Yeah.
you
Mm-hmm.
at that point. And it is interesting, I think, like you guys speaking to specifically female jiu-jitsu world, how well you know everybody still, because this is something we run into with MMA matching hard. There's like 10 featherweights in the area that could face Cheyenne.
Yeah.
Like when we have
there's 10 featherweights in the regional MMA USA.
right.
Yeah.
Right.
That are qualified in the state of Pennsylvania for us to match her with. So once we contact all 10 of them, it's like,
Okay.
what
who's
else
left?
now?
Yeah.
What do we do?
Yeah,
Like, how do we?
I'm not 10 might be generous, to be
Yeah, it's
honest.
not really
I don't
10.
even think it's 10.
I mean, it might be 10 in the whole
Right,
US.
right.
Like,
That's
but like,
still
you're not
in
really
the entire
trying.
United States.
Yes.
That's nuts.
And that goes
It's crazy.
Yeah.
it gets a little better at like flyweight and strawweight for women, but for the most part, like there's a very finite number
Yeah.
of possibilities. And
But the
it's
difference
weird.
is like she can go to West Virginia and get a bout because like their commission is not as
Let
strict
anything
as
go.
ours.
Yeah.
So they'll
Man.
they'll approve a bout that like they would never approve a debut versus Cheyenne Hall in Pennsylvania,
Right.
but like she can go to like West Virginia and pick up
do
that,
that.
bout.
Yeah.
It's interesting to me though to hear that that's also in jiu-jitsu, because my perception is that there should be a much larger pool of female talent in jiu-jitsu, but it doesn't really sound like
No,
that's the
it's small.
case.
It's small. Well, and I think it also depends on where you're fighting too. Like I think like there's kind of like, I did, like I said, I did the IBJJF circuit for a while, and you kind of start to recognize the names that like do the IBJJF circuit.
Okay,
And now
so I'm sorry, like a lot of our viewers are like me,
Mm-hmm.
and like I don't know, like when you talk about grappling industries versus
Oh,
IBJJ,
yeah.
can you kind of like
yeah,
just
so
kind of simplify that for us?
sure. So IBJJF it's international Brazilian whatever. They're kind of like held up as the pinnacle of like what is the most official federation that exists in this sport right now, because there's not a jiu-jitsu unified rule set.
But do they do like tournament style
Yes.
or okay, so they're tournaments.
So they're
style.
tournaments. They run Pan American Championships, gi and no gi. They run World Championships, gi and no gi, and then the other two big ones that happen are European championships or like European nationals and Brazilian nationals. So they're like the big they consider themselves to be like the governing body of jiu-jitsu, when in reality they're just a tournament. They have like the classic rule set of like, these are the points for these positions and this is how whatever.
So when you talk about tournament grappling or jiu-jitsu, is it always going to be like you pay a tournament fee, you come, and it's mainly their income is primarily based off of your registration?
Yes, it's a big conversation in grappling right now, specifically surrounding IBJJF, how much they don't pay their athletes, especially these black belt athletes that are like coming to compete with them year after year and have all these world titles stacked up, and it's like where they're getting like cents on the dollar for in repayment, and it's ridiculous. Versus so the other big one that's kind of coming up right now is ADCC has started doing open tournaments, where you get to compete under the ADCC rule set, but it's not ADCC,
right?
Like it's not worlds, it's not trials.
So is that all no gi?
Yes.
Okay, everything ADCC is
everything
no-gi.
ADCC is no gi, and I've also gotten into this conversation with one of my coaches, Andy Anderson, who just did the Dallas Open. ADCC is not jiu-jitsu, it is submission grappling, which is, I would argue, especially with the way that gi and no gi jiu-jitsu have changed over the last 10 years. I can hear the nerd pouring out of me. I'm so sorry.
I want to hear this
like,
though.
just
I,
like,
I
there was-
genuinely want to hear
learned
this.
from Jess.
Yeah. Hand it off my rug later.
No, but like the way that you look at like and Mike's talked about this too before, where 10 years ago, gi and no gi was the same sport, just in different uniforms. Like
Right,
one you wore
right.
a bathrobe and one you wore spandex.
Yep.
And now with the advent of leg locks,
Sure.
within the last 5 years, which you cannot do heel hooks in the gi. That's like rule number 1, because a lot of the escapes are predicated on
There's way too much traction.
yeah. It's like
yeah.
you have a pant grip,
Exactly.
you can't do the
Yeah,
escape,
there's
and you're gonna
no
blow
getting out of this.
No.
Yeah.
So leg locks on the no gi side versus all of these crazy modern lapel guards with the jacket on the gi side, they're two different sports now. And even kind of predating that too, like ADCC was never specifically a jiu-jitsu tournament. Even at Worlds, it was a lot of wrestling, it was a lot of judo, it was a lot of sambo. So like I would argue that it's their ADCC looks like it's trying to sell itself as the alternative king of no-gi whatever, as opposed to the IBJJF, where I would
Sure.
argue it's a slightly different
Yeah,
sport.
It's
or
interesting.
space, especially
Yeah.
with the rule set. So
No, I'm glad you broke that down because
Okay.
go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, I'd like more.
Yeah.
Okay, so that takes care of like the two top like tournament,
Mhm.
but there's also like super fights. Is there someone that like kind of like is the top for super fights,
Fight to
or
win.
is it fight to win? Okay,
Yeah.
so
For
Seth is like
Mhm.
doing that.
Yeah, he's been
He's
doing
killing
it.
that.
He's been doing it the longest. Like even when I first started in 2018, like I remember they were in Pittsburgh and like Sage was on the card and a
Yep.
couple of stout guys were on the card. And I remember that kind of being like the pinnacle, because they had figured out like the traveling show, they had the production, they
Yep.
had
Their production is
There is
sick, by the
no
way.
doubt
Yeah.
their production is like, I look at
It's
their
world
pictures, I'm like,
class.
I
yeah,
want that
for sure.
Like,
yeah.
and like from feedback I've gotten, like I've heard people say like we found out about them being here like the week of.
It was literally the night before I got on the show.
How does that even like? So as a promoter, like for me, I'm like, did they have like they had an audience? How did all that work?
I think they had been to Pittsburgh enough times to know that they had the talent pool to draw from.
It was gonna fill. The car was gonna be full, but
Yeah.
yeah, about bringing people in, I don't know.
Right.
I didn't go to the first one, so I don't really know.
So are those are those all like you don't pay a participant fee for that?
No,
No.
yeah. Super fights
Okay.
are generally
Okay.
like
Yeah.
commission on ticket
Mhm.
sales. Like if you are, some of them will break it down so they'll consider purple belt and below amateur and brown belt and above professional. But like to me I'm kind of like, if they hand you money, then you should be considering this a pro fight,
Pro,
in my
yeah,
opinion.
for sure.
And that's what we did. That's
Yeah.
what we determined. Like
We had
Yeah.
these discussions. I actually
these were total
yeah.
discussions we had.
I texted Wilkins even, and I was like kind of embarrassed because I'm like, dude, I'm sorry that I don't really know this, but what is considered a pro grappling match? Because on one hand, we could easily say anything purple and below is amateur.
Yeah.
But then you have a match like Gavin Teasdale versus Freddie Rodriguez, who are pro MMA fighters
Right.
that are blue belts. That can't be an amateur
Yeah.
grappling match. Like, that doesn't even make sense. And
Yeah.
he's like, dude, there's no system. Like, just do whatever makes sense for you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we landed on. So, to be clear, like, everybody at Sprawl in the Burgh, if you get a submission, you get $100 right off the bat. Like, there's a $100 submission bonus for every rank, every weight class, everybody.
Yeah.
And then
There
we
is?
do, yeah. Well, you didn't know. About
Oh, that was it's his shirt. It's his T-shirt deal. Like,
everybody
hey,
who
you-
gets a submission gets
you
a T-shirt.
I'll give you $100. Like, we'll never actually do it. Is that what? No, I'm just
No, they actually get their $100 though in this scenario.
it's out of your.
But
your-
then some people
your
do,
paycheck.
of course, have purses. You know, when you run it all the way to the top, like PJ Barch and Dante Leone, of course, they're getting fight purses as well.
Yeah. Sure.
Wait, they're getting what?
Dude,
No,
good
I'm
purses.
joking about that.
Like Gucci purses, dude.
I know,
Gucci
I
purses.
know.
They getting paid, son.
Trust me. I know all too well about that one.
But it is interesting because grappling still feels like the Wild West to a degree. And even to take it a step further, MMA is highly sanctioned. We work with the commission. We can only do certain things. We can't call the shots.
Man, I remember when MMA was illegal in New York for so long.
For sure.
So long.
Yeah, New York probably
Well,
one of the
actually-
longest.
Literally the
holdups.
Wild
Yeah,
West of
right.
like people fighting each other.
New
on
York
rooftops.
State Athletic
Yes.
Commission might make it illegal again
I
because
know.
it should be with the way they're running it.
Well, I mean,
It's so
there's
bad.
a big controversy in the grappling community right now related to the State Athletic Commission because IBJJF used to run Nogi Pan American Championships in New York City every year. And then it wasn't, I think it was supposed to kick in 2020 and then like the world ended. So it didn't become a problem until like the last year or two, but they decided to go ahead and sanction all grappling matches as MMA fights. So blood work for every person competing. If it was a tournament, like they would forego blood work, but you had to have like crazy venue insurance and an ambulance on site and like all this giant list of stuff. And every single grappling promotion in the area just said, fuck it, we're out.
Yeah, it's really hard to make money in this business, guys.
Yeah.
It's really, that's why I'm always telling people, like, I know it sucks to sell tickets. I know you don't want to. I know that. And I need you to. We need you to sell tickets. Like, sell
Got you.
tickets.
Yeah.
And so, like, but that's the thing. Like, I tell people, if you look at an MMA show, when it's all said and done, when you look at that show, if every fight doesn't sell $3,000 worth of tickets, which that in MMA, that means like one of the two guys is the guy that is expected to sell tickets. If each one's not selling $3,000, that fight lost money. And so it's not that like promoters are being greedy. Like you said, we're putting out this like production and we're doing all these things. Like it costs a lot of money to do that. And I want to do that. And I want to like spoil the fighters and do all that. And it works both ways. Like fighters, if you want to fight regularly, like you're gonna have to build up your base.
Yeah. Well, and I think as far as like selling tickets goes too, people want to support their teammates and their friends. It's just like, you know, especially for grappling where like a lot of the people that we train with, maybe they don't compete. Maybe they do this as a hobby. Maybe they have, you know, a full-time job and a second full-time job and like it slips their mind and they're like, oh, I forgot to buy tickets. And it's just like, you know, sometimes I do feel like I'm being a little annoying about it, but I'm like, no, like, you know, I don't want you to, you told me that you wanted to come support this. I want to make sure that you have that opportunity.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. And like it's not as if, but there are tons of people. There are tons of people that are on your card and on the other card that will not sell $1. Well, they won't sell one ticket, and it's like you live 4 miles from the venue. Like
I'm not from
you
here.
can find
like,
exactly.
like I
made it
don't have
work.
family here. Like,
And that's the whole thing is like we just need, like if we want to have grappling all the time,
Yeah.
then we got to have a crowd. Like we can't lose money, because if we lose money, like we're just going to say, let's not do all that effort and make money by not doing it. Like if you're losing it. And so.
Yeah.
You done?
She's spicy tonight. She's spicy tonight.
Why do you think that's so funny?
Dude, because I think that like 100 times a day, but I don't say it.
I'm just
She had the balls to
I'm
actually
just
say it. That was
kidding. I'm
awesome.
just kidding.
That was
She's
awesome.
like, are you done?
Are you done now?
I'm just kidding.
Bro, are you done?
It's okay. I'm on the
What I
receiving
do.
end of this
Yeah,
most of the
Jeff
time.
That's
gets it.
awesome.
Yeah.
I saw her give you that look. The
Oh,
are
I-
you done look earlier.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all
It's a
love.
real thing, though. I think Pittsburgh's pretty special too, with the kind of the cross training aspect, and a big kudos to
Absolutely.
Stout for Saturdays at Stout being
Yeah,
sparring
that's
day
a
for a lot of guys. Yeah, it's
huge
huge.
thing.
It's
Yeah.
huge. And I think that creates a community where people will support, like you just said, you're not from here, you don't have family here,
Yeah.
and you're still able to go out and sell tickets.
And I also like, as far as we like, I'm up at the Mat Factory every Sunday at training, but like as far as who I'm trying to sell tickets
Yeah,
to,
she's
like
not trying to sell. The
I
Mat
leave
Factory,
the
but-
Mat Factory people to the Mat Factory. Like,
Right,
we're all
right.
friends, but I'm like, you should support the people who are fighting under your banner.
Well, this isn't going to surprise either of you or Ryan or Danny Palm, but Isaac, and again, being the best person to ever walk this earth.
I mean, he truly is. This is why he has this.
Yeah. Yeah, go get that Hall of Fame plaque while I continue. When I was talking to him, so Gray Maynard, coming from Michigan, of course, UFC veteran, UFC legend, he wanted paid to come here, which is totally fair. Gray Maynard obviously earned that and deserves that. And I was asking Isaac candidly, like, dude, do you think you can sell tickets? Because Gray's not going to be cheap to get here. And Isaac was like, I don't know, man, because usually I'll, if somebody wants to buy tickets from me, I'll tell them, go buy them off Patton, go
Yeah.
buy them off Jake Lowry,
Yeah.
go buy them off Dempsey, or whoever it may be, Selena. And I was just like, dude, can you stop being so awesome for once? Like that's
He
literally the
literally
nicest
cannot.
thing
You're
I've ever heard.
obnoxiously awesome.
And then I was negotiating Isaac's purse and I say negotiating with air quotes because
No,
it's just
I'll pay you.
he's literally like,
Shut up and take
whatever
my
I
money.
make is getting donated back anyway. And I'm like, dude,
Sounds like
why
Isaac.
That
are
tracks.
you like this?
That
Yeah, you're the
tracks.
Yeah.
best human ever.
It makes me think like I'm a horrible human being.
for sure.
No, it should
I
just
can-
make you want to be better.
No, it does. It does. It's like I always say to him, like, let's be more like Isaac. And most people are like,
What would
oh, like
Isaac
what would
do?
what would Jesus do?
What would Isaac
What
do?
would Isaac do?
Very
Yeah.
offensive, I'm sure.
They're oftentimes the same thing.
If we created WWID bracelets, would that be offensive?
I think we should do it.
I kind of
think we
want
should
that.
do it.
I kind
I
of
think
want
we
that.
should get Stage to design it. Stage
Let's
went to
go.
art school.
Yeah,
you
dude.
saw that. You saw that fucking Star Wars shit. Get Stage to design anything.
That was awesome. The Star Wars. So check out Sage Jitsu on Instagram. Yeah, big win with that post today.
So outside of anyone Mat Factory or Stout, like, are there any fights that you guys are like, wow, like I'm looking forward to seeing that one?
I'm ready to see Dante and PJ run it back.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
sure.
Nobody
Yeah.
else.
I'm ready to see.
I mean, it's
I'm ready to see Liam scrap.
yeah, but he's
He's
like
like,
our guy,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I thought he was Lucas Jones's brother for the longest time. I was like, "There's no way both of you are this good at jiu-jitsu with the same last name in
Jones,
Pittsburgh." Yeah,
that's an
it's an uncommon
last
last name. Nobody's ever heard of a Jones.
Yeah, they're both dogs.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I wish we did want Lucas on this card, of course, but he was preoccupied and
He's
doing other things.
Texas, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
down in Austin.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
in the future,
I just want to tell you guys, like, we're super stoked to have you guys on the card.
for sure.
You guys,
Cannot wait.
like, I joke and I made like sexist jokes and all that stuff, but like in all honesty, like, I respect you guys so much. Like, I think, like, to get in, like, and compete and do all those things, like, you guys are superstars. So
We're excited to
thank
do
you.
it. Yeah, thanks for hosting it. Honestly,
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I think this is probably the most excited I've been for a super fight. Honestly, fight to win was great, but
We have
this-
time this time.
Yeah, and this feels different. I think too, just because you are the name for MMA here in Pittsburgh. we're automatically gonna have our people. Like this is a true Pittsburgh show. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm pumped. It's gonna be great.
We're excited too because we're actually we're doing a lot of marketing on PJ and Dante's bout, like nationwide and even worldwide, and so who knows, we might have eyeballs across the world.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, because didn't he just had a huge match announced coming up for, I think, who's number one, right?
Yeah, against Nikki. Who was? No, it wasn't Nikki Rod.
Renee's.
That was.
Renee's against Nikki Ryan.
Yeah, that was my bad.
Krellen's thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's gonna be.
I told you he was
Bonkers.
the grappling nerd.
he is a nerd.
Yeah.
right there.
Ethan Krenlison's a dog.
Yeah.
He there's a. Sorry, Dave. There's a Instagram clip of one of my teammates being just like sent across the room by Ethan in a mat return.
Sick.
Yeah.
Love that. Yeah, I mean, when we announced, like, that was the first match we signed for this card. So once we had PJ versus Dante, it just felt like, let's go stack this thing up.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
let's not stop there
Yep.
and just see what we can do.
See,
And,
in
yeah, it's
hindsight,
crazy.
I think this card was gonna be stacked regardless.
Yeah, the talent in Pittsburgh right now, the turnout, because it's hard to match MMA. It really is. It's hard to get people to fight each other. There's a lot of times people turn down things. With this one, we always talk about it like fantasy matchmaking.
so
What
weird.
do we want to happen? We could kind of do that with this one. Like we could literally just say, "How's this sound?" and everybody's like, "Yes."
Like when seriously, when we talk about MMA, we're like, what if this guy fought this guy? And then we try to make that happen. It's like, nope.
Nope,
Okay,
nope.
How about if he fought that guy? Nope. Like, and it's all these like dead ends.
Yeah.
And like when you fantasy match make with grappling, it's like, dude, what if that guy and that guy? And they're like, okay, there we go. We have it.
Right.
And then we're like, okay, we'll never get this guy and this guy. And it just kept coming together. And it was like,
Like,
awesome.
yep.
Like,
Like, yeah.
I
could
sent you a
do
list.
this.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
did.
I was like, I must be on this card. Here is everyone I've ever fought
Yes.
or been offered in the last 2 years.
Here
And
are
you
the
were like,
people.
how about this person? And I was like, I've never fought her. I don't think I know who she is. Let's do it.
It is crazy. And Wilkins, to that point, like for MMA, he's obviously he wants final say on everything. And I totally get that. That's awesome. That's every MMA coach. For grappling,
Opposite.
yeah, for grappling, Wilkins
They're on
literally
their
told us
own.
if they reach out to you and want to fight, give them that fight. Do it. You don't have to ask me. You don't have to clear it with me, which was crazy to hear for us.
Yeah, it just feels like night and day.
Yeah, it
And
really
like,
is.
to be clear, I still do ask my coaches for input.
Sure.
So like I turned down a finishers match recently because they had offered me someone who I think it was a teenager. And I wasn't quite, I was like nursing like I was like my finger might be broken and like my ankle sprained again. Like maybe I'm not healthy enough to take this match. And my coaches were like, don't fight a teenager if you're not healthy.
Yep.
So-
we just talked about that.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
I do that every day in my house.
Nice.
That sounds like fun.
Don't do it.
Okay.
So Jess Elizabeth versus Kylie Sapola, Sprawl in the Burgh, Friday, July 14th, Monroeville Convention Center.
That's my birthday.
Hey.
yeah. Selena Jovith versus Juliana Aguilar. Is that all
You
right?
were at the
Aguilar?
dentist's office there for a second.
Aguilar.
Wait, you
Enlisted
called
nine-
her out. I don't know.
Enlisted
Say her
9
name.
Fight Company in Virginia. We're excited to have them. Her teammate Evan Onuffer is also on the cards. That's cool. We tried to book. This is fun too. I don't know. Did we ever say this? We tried to book Colton Smith, the owner
Oh,
of
yeah.
Enlisted 9, versus Dempsey to start with, and Colton couldn't make it. They were both in. It was happening, but Colton couldn't make it.
They're
Ultimate Fighter winner, Colton Smith.
yeah. Colton Smith won Ultimate Fighter, but that was a part of our we got to know him through our Virginia escapade.
Yep, exactly. So then we knew he had a team there, and he was awesome. Colton's awesome. He's an
Yeah.
amazing guy.
Totally
so.
good, totally cool guy.
Juliana's going to be legit. You're obviously legit. That's a sick matchup. You have a sick matchup. Everybody should go buy tickets. Come to Sprawl in the Burgh. I
Hell
think.
yeah.
247fighting.com. Sprawl in the Burgh.
Before we wrap up,
Oh,
I still think I have to. I
Sing
still
us
have
out.
You got an audition.
So
Is this an original?
I got two things because you're gonna end it on a fantastic note. But I got one thing.
Yeah,
Wait,
go
where-
for it. Absolutely.
That camera does either work.
You're
Okay.
speaking.
yeah. Put her on that one.
One thing, my daughter wanted a shout out. So shout out to MJ being the coolest kid in the
How
world.
old is she now?
She'll be 6 in 2 weeks.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then also, I'm gonna end here also, but Jess will bring it back up. Any day, every day, but especially next weekend, just because we're all gonna be having fun and having a good time and partying and whatnot. Please don't drink and drive. That's all. Go ahead.
Don't do it.
Love it.
Sing us. Don't do
And
it.
check out the shirt before
Yeah.
Yeah.
you are important.
Oh, and
Legit.
MJ made me this for today. I know.
That's awesome.
Go ahead.
All right.
Top that, Jess.
All right. Like I said, we got an EP on Spotify. I don't know if I ever said the name of the band. We are Tara and the Dactyls. And because people have asked me this before, no, I am not Tara. The band leader's name is Tara. I am not Tara. I don't know how this became a thing. Anyway, we have an EP on Spotify, but this is not on the EP. So,
This is awesome.
yeah. All right. This is actually,
Wait. Hold on. Tara and the Dactyls?
Yes.
Okay, so let me just rewind here for just 2 seconds.
yeah.
So I just happened to tonight wear this Octagon 24/7 shirt. This is where it all started. Like, we had a podcast called MMA Fancast, right? It's still existing, but we handed it over to Luke, who runs it now. He runs MMA Fancast. So a good friend of mine was a part of this podcast originally. It was me, Jim, who's the matchmaker, and Dan Altieri. And one time we were on the podcast and he announced his name as Terry Dactyl. So it's
Perfect.
just funny and weird that I'm wearing this shirt and you just said Tara and the Dactyls.
Yep.
And he's whatever.
Yep.
Go ahead.
That's awesome.
Anyways, this is a song called the Jin Saga. It's a 9-minute long rock opera that we have tracked. It's sitting in a hard drive somewhere. We just haven't released it as a single yet.
This is
Tara-
awesome. Are
Tara,
we
we
doing
should
the
get
full
on it.
9 minutes?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Although there was that one
Just-
time that we did an EP release show. The crowd called for an encore, and they gave us the go ahead to do an encore, and we kind of looked at each other like, the only song that we can do on no rehearsrsal is 9 minutes long.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just do it.
Send it.
So
Sucks.
so you're not gonna do the stars back up together. Because that's
I
like
gotta warm up a little bit more for that one.
Fair.
Oh God.
but
let's
you
see.
can do it, right?
I can do it. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I'll send you a
I
tape.
mean, if you
I'll
if you-
send you a tape.
Yeah, I'll send you a tape.
all right.
Yeah. Let's see. Come out of the corner, it said. You look a little rattled. Tell me something. Is it only fools who choose to live who leave behind all the wonders they crafted in the palaces and caskets of a sick mind?
That was sick.
What?
Dude, that was sick. That was awesome.
What?
Okay, so have you and Paul Luke ever collaborated?
We've talked about it.
Yeah, that should happen. That should definitely happen. Paul Luke's insanely
I'm mind
talented.
blown right now.
Yeah, honestly, that you just went right for it. I can't end it any better than that. Ladies and gentlemen, Jess Elizabeth, Selina Jovith, let's go.
Let's go.
Next Friday night, Sprawl on the Burgh, 247fighting.com. Boom.